If athleisure was a radio show, this would be that radio show. Bo Bishop, a man of fine taste and Montana class.
My wife will try and drag me to like an Easter brunch buffet, and I don't even like that because I don't like everybody standing over food I'm going to eat.
Friends with the highest intellectuals.
We found out the hard way. We have white furniture. That's all I'll say.
What a mess.
Oh, God. Holy
Literally.
An athlete, coach, husband, and father.
That drives me nuts. My kids are, I'm him. Shut up. Are you kidding me? You're 9. You're not him. I don't even know what the hell that means.
And two guys who are considerable downgrades from a former football player.
You were saying the Olympics wasn't interesting you yesterday. Well, can I offer you 50 seconds of interest?
50 seconds of interest is a similar pitch I make to my girlfriend on a nightly basis.
You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, let's do it live on a Thursday edition of the program. Bo and the boys with you for the next 3. Loaded up. Paul Finebaum, 9:33. Georgia and Bama tangle on Saturday night. We'll hit your emails at 10 o'clock. Lots of good ones this week. Some really thought-provoking stuff. We will get to that at 11 o'clock. 10:20. Are the 12 best teams going to make the playoff? The answer to that is subjective, but also, quite honestly, finite. You might be surprised just how far off that might all get. At 11 o'clock, we attempt to beat the House. 11:33, Joshua Perry stops by, our old buddy, future governor of Ohio. He'll stop by and join us at 11:33. Lots of football. But I did want to start with youth basketball, and just follow me. It'll all make sense. We had day one of tryouts. For the last several years, I've helped run the youth basketball program in our town, and NBC went all the way through it. Now he's in middle school, so he's out. So Beamsy and Bootsy are still in. This was Bootsy's first year of travel basketball tryouts. So there's 18 kids who make the team, and if there's last night, I think in his grade, there are upwards of 30 who tried out. Those who don't make the travel team will be put into the rec program, so it's not like they won't have basketball.
So the college recruiters are showing up now.
Not yet.
Traveling,
not yet.
Right? Yeah.
No, as Chris Holtman said, Bo, we don't worry about that until puberty. Is the line on that? And I always thought that was a funny line because there are some kids, some folks, some parents in youth hoops and in youth anything who think that at age 8 the college recruiters are there. In fact, they are not. They're not doing that. So we had the try, and it was surreal to see him bouncing around. So we went 5th and 3rd grade last night, and then next week we'll do 4th grade and 6th grade as they will do their tryouts. It's a 2-night tryout. It's an hour and a half each. The kids, a lot of them are just completely nervous. They're a nervous wreck. They are, because they understand these kids are thrown into a cauldron at a younger age, certainly than I was, and they're thrown into it, and there's peer pressure to make it, and I think there's a lot of parental pressure to make it, especially as they get older. In the 3rd grade, we split teams evenly. 4th, 5th, 6th, there's an A and a B team, and that's the way most of the teams play around here. So they'll go A, B, 4th, 5th, 6th, and then in 3rd grade is split even. So that's the way that it typically goes, and it was surreal to see him bouncing around. So we did 3rd and 5th yesterday. So I was there from 5:15 until 9:30, kind of going over it. I don't evaluate. We're very lucky. Our high school coaches and his incredible staff, they do all the evaluations. The kids are only identified numerically. There's no names. And it's not like a high school coach knows who the 3rd grader is, right? They have no idea who they are. So they put them through a series of stuff. They're identified only by number, and away you go. And it's one of those things that in our town, the basketball numbers on the boys' side have always been really, really good. But that's not what this is about. A friend of mine runs it on the girls' side. And the girls' numbers have been traditionally about half of the boys' numbers. So if the boys have 30 kids trying out in the 3rd grade, the girls might have 12. And in some instances, they didn't have enough numbers to you could even have a 3rd and 4th grade team. It would be a 3-4 team. And this is consistent. Like you'll see this around the area. You'll see maybe not enough to have a 3rd and 4th grade team, but just a 3-4 team kind of put together. Oftentimes there isn't A and B in girls either because there just aren't enough numbers in the sport. Well, and again, I get the tryout numbers. So the girls did their tryouts on Monday. So I normally don't do this, but I was just curious what the girls' numbers looked like this year. They were doubled and in some instances tripled to what they were a year ago. And you say to yourself, why? Well, the why, I think, in large part, played basketball last night in her last game of a 9-month stretch, almost a year that she's been in the public conscience. And I think it is the Caitlin Clark effect. I think what it is she has made little girls all over, or helped little girls all over this country fall in love with the sport at a higher rate than that we've ever seen. I made the analogy this summer from a rating standpoint, and I stand by it 100%, that she is Tiger Woods when it comes to ratings in television. It is. There was something I saw on Sports Media Watch this week in terms of games she was on versus games she didn't participate in. The average rating of her games was like 1.3 million over the course of the season. Games she didn't participate in were 400,000. It was a 3-to-1 difference ratings-wise, games she participated in versus games she did not. Also, like Tiger Woods, and something I didn't mention this summer when I first did that analogy, and again, just to reiterate, I'm not claiming she's the greatest women's basketball player of all time or that that's what she's going to be. I'm saying she's the most influential when it comes to getting people involved. This same thing that happened, and I'm guessing this is anecdotally, this is just our town, but I'm guessing this was duplicated all over the area with the basketball tryouts on the girls' side of things. You saw numbers increase through the roof. You see it in the stands. You see it in the WNBA and all of the things that have happened. But the other part of it with her, and this was the part that I didn't see this summer, but I see now, remember the impact that Tiger had, the boom on youth golf 25 years ago, the amount of kids who started to play. One thing that we got wrong is that it would lead to a ton of minority participation in golf throughout in terms of ascending all the way to the PGA Tour. We did not see that. But what we did see was a ton of kids who maybe otherwise would not have gotten into golf or have specialized in golf, influenced by it, and become their passion, become cool to golf. You think about all those guys like Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth and Scotty Scheffler and all of those guys who came through, Rory McIlroy, all those young guys who came through who were inspired to play the game by Tiger. That same thing I saw Monday in girls basketball. And Caitlin played her last game last night. They lost in the semifinals to Connecticut. She had a great game. Just think of what this run has been like for her. Like, she's going to rest now. She won't play basketball for a while. You're not going to see her again. I don't know if she'll play overseas or not, or she'll take a break. Who knows? You won't see her on a basketball court again until next spring. It'll be April before that season starts back up again. But the impact that she had, and it's anecdotal, I acknowledge, but the impact that she had, and I can't think of anything else, because I was looking at the historical numbers of the little girls who tried out 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th grade over the last 5-6 years. They're up almost double to what they've been, and I think it probably lands at her feet.
Bo, you've talked about this a lot with your kids, that they like to do what they're watching. So throughout the year, they switch which little sports they want to play when they have a free moment. They play basketball with you, but now I bet they're getting more into football. And so that goes for really every kid. So that includes the girls as well. And right now, people are watching Caitlin Clark, and we know that. And I saw these numbers today from Front Office Sports because her season ended, but Fever attendance was up 319% this year. She won the WNBA Rookie of the Year. WNBA merches were up 450%, obviously led by Caitlin Clark, and there was a greater than 100% increase in viewers across national networks. So you see all that growth for the WNBA, but what will really be the test is, does at least like the finals, the championship round, get anywhere comparative to those numbers? Is it able to beat its previous numbers without Caitlin Clark there? Can they actually use some of that as momentum to get people interested in the outcome of the season of the WNBA? Because then you get people returning. Once you get people interested in the outcome, then they care about the sport, not just Caitlin Clark and maybe a little bit the Fever. They start to care about everything. And it's that merchandise number that sticks out to me, because it says this probably got more people engaged with their local WNBA team, or maybe the WNBA team that's associated with their favorite NBA team. But can that carry on? That'll be the real test of it, because like you said, she's going to go away now. They can't use this huge marketing machine that they have, and especially not through the playoffs. So can they do that? But you will see the growth of the game if she can keep going and she keeps being that popular, like you said, with the girls, and they keep on playing, and that's how sports grow. People want to go play them.
You can't give her to the Las Vegas Aces, who are the lowest seed remaining, because they're like the back-to-back defending WNBA champions. Yeah. But like the team that has the lowest shot to win, because there are only 4 remaining, you just put her in one of their jerseys and let her play for like a quarter. Like, call it the Caitlin quarter and just see, or the Caitlin half, and see what happens. Like, she can play for each team in whatever, the semifinals, and then in the finals. and then just say, where's Caitlin Clark going to show up? Like, it becomes almost like Sting in the late 90s for WCW. You never knew, but you always tuned in to watch.
But
yeah, the thing with her that's incredible, though, is I think there were some people, and it bugged me that a lot of the politically charged stuff went left or right with her, and they took it as an opportunity to pit against each other. That's shameful because sports is the one place where there's no reason for that to be in the mix. It doesn't. That's the beauty of sports, why we all love it, because there isn't a pull left or right. You sit down in a basketball game, a football game, a lacrosse game, a baseball game, soccer game last night at lower.com. You don't know what the political affiliation is of the person next to you. That's the beauty of it, right? So it's shameful that happened. Here's the thing with her, though. What Reese just described as a gimmick, she is not a gimmick. She's great. She's great. Despite someone who had probably more wear on her tires than anybody else playing. Like, the only people who would have more wear on her tires than her are the other rookies who played, like Angel Reese, who went down with an injury about a month ago. The women who played an entire college season and then went right into a WNBA season. The amount of wear and tear on her is so significant, and yet she delivered bigly. She wasn't good. She was great. Oftentimes the best player on the court.
Most points, assists, three-pointers made by a rookie ever. Yeah.
You had to be that. If she's not that, then it's a novelty. Then it's a gimmick. But she wasn't that. She's great. And so all of those things work. So it was cool to see, I think, what is a direct trickle down there. So real quickly, did the crew get screwed? Is that where I'm at? I saw this last night when I was done with tryouts, that there was
he was offsides.
Okay.
On the final penalty kick, the kicker was offsides, and it's going, well, then what do we do with the replay for? If you can't look at those moments, those instances, what's even the point?
Yeah.
That sucks. That sucks.
What is this, though? This is another, it's listed as a final.
The Campeones Cup.
I have no idea where this came from, how they got into it, what's going on.
It's exciting when you get to play a team like Club America. They're out of Guadalajara. It's a monster franchise in Mexico, so that's really cool to have the ability to play them. I don't know. They used to have these things that were a little easier to understand. I suppose like Beam and Bone, they're all locked in on what all of these things are. I don't know if this one means more than the one we lost, the other final we lost.
I don't know either. Yeah.
I don't know if this one was more significant or not. I don't know what the priority was. I know they've played a ton of this type of stuff, and that's what happens when you're good. There's actually, I have an email at 10 o'clock that is a pretty solid email on how lucky we got it in regard to kind of everything else in the state of Ohio, with the exception of maybe a couple of things here and there. We will get to that and the rest of your emails. Paul Finebaum coming up at 9:33. Coming up next, the Buckeyes prepare for that trip up to Sparty land offensively. What do you expect to see out of the Buckeyes? You'll hear from freshman sensation Jeremiah Smith, Travion Henderson as well. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We used to have a billboard with our host's face on it, but only ugly people work here now.
You mama say you ugly, hey!
The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
After 31 years in Washington, just how much has Sherrod Brown changed? When he first wanted our vote, he said this.
My allegiance will be to Ohio and to the communities in Ohio.
To Ohio? Sherrod Brown voted for amnesty for 11 million illegal immigrants, and he voted to give them taxpayer-funded benefits, like free health care to illegals who get amnesty, Social Security checks, COVID relief checks, all to be paid for by you. And Sherrod Brown's open border policies have led to more fentanyl, dangerous gangs, even terrorists pouring into our country. So when Sherrod Brown says this,
my allegiance will be to Ohio and to the communities in Ohio.
Don't listen to what Sherrod Brown says. Watch what he does. Because Sherrod Brown doesn't vote for Ohio anymore. He's way too liberal for Ohio. American Crossroads paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. AmericanCrossroads.org.
Direct auto insurance is for uncompromisers. Like Matt. When his old car insurance got so expensive, do you think he walked until his sneakers wore out? No, because he found savings with Direct Auto so he could drive instead of compromise. With savings of up to 25% on state minimum coverage, you too can stop compromising and keep driving. Get a free quote at directauto.com or a store near you. Savings vary, terms apply. National General Group, Winston-Salem.
There's always time for the drive-thru deal. Because no matter how fast you are at making breakfast, McDonald's is faster.
Wake up to McDonald's breakfast and mix and match a classic sausage McMuffin, delicious sausage burrito, or crispy hash browns. Get any two for just $3. Order ahead in the app and pick up curbside. Price and participation may vary, cannot be combined with any other offer.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Guess what? Our ugly faces are on YouTube. Search 971 The Fan and watch all your favorite shows. Laptop, phone, tablet, smart TV, we're everywhere. Bring us in the bedroom with you. Yes, The Fan.
At Diamond Cellar, we've been crafting love stories for over 77 years. Trust, quality, and always the guaranteed best price. Visit us today to experience the Diamond Cellar difference. Stop into our showroom on Sawmill Road or at Easton Town Center.
Common Man here for Jermaine Lexus of Dublin and Easton. Fall is here. It's still warm and dry and everything's brown. But yay, fall. Maybe after your summer road trips, you've realized your vehicle sucks. My friends at Jermaine Lexus want to help. Right now, they have special APRs as low as 2.99% on their most popular models like the ES and RX, or lease payments starting as low as $4.99 a month. My friends at Jermaine are the best in the business. If you're in the market, please stop in. 2 locations to serve you, Dublin and Easton, JermaineLexus.com.
By the time you're finished listening to this Pepsi Zero Sugar, you'll be 15 seconds closer to kickoff. Stock up now. Bengals game day is so close, you can almost taste it. Bengals watching. Better with Pepsi.
Healthcare.gov is here for you when life happens. If you lost your health coverage because of turning 26, going off Medicaid, leaving your job, or moving, you could be eligible to enroll in new coverage now. And if you need to update your coverage because of marriage or having a baby, you could also be eligible. But don't wait. There's a limited time to enroll. Check your eligibility at healthcare.gov today. Life happens. Get covered. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Staying dry today with a high of 78. 79 tomorrow, rain and wind as the remnants of Helene move in. We could be looking at winds gusting up to around 40 tomorrow, and then Saturday and Sunday will be breezy but slightly drier. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
Taking the art of sports radio and day drinking to a whole new level. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Well, if you're like me and many men out there suffering with low T, within just a few weeks, you're going to see some energy return. And you say, well, Bo, how can I do that? Pretty simple. Talk to my friends at Tri-State Men's Health. This is what was happening for me. It was the sleep patterns weren't right. The workouts weren't as productive. The decreased energy, the brain fog. The boys would say, Dad, will you do this? I'm too tired. I don't want to do it. And then I visited my friends at Tri-State Men's Health, and all of it flipped. Men in their early to mid-30s, guys start losing 2 to 3% of their testosterone production every year. It happens gradually. Before you know it, you don't feel like the same man you were in your 20s or 30s, but you can again with my friends at Tri-State Men's Health. If this sounds like you, go to TriStateMen'sHealth.com. Take the low T quiz on the website. If the symptoms apply, schedule a consult with Tri-State Men's Health. They're going to do your lab work, have your results in 30 minutes. I went through the process, could not have been happier with how easy it was. Licensed medical providers going to review your results with you and discuss your options. And you're going to make the best decision together with the medical team. The cost of an appointment is $99, but if you're like me and you sign up, the cost of that appointment is free. 800-900-9654. Visit TriStateMen'sHealth.com today. 2 locations conveniently in town. Quick exit off 270 in Hilliard near Medical Mile in Westerville on that side of things. Buckeyes at Sparty land on Saturday night in a Peacock game. Of course, you can listen to it right here on The Fan. I feel like you Peacock. I do think you have to. By the way, did her new album, It Bomb?
I think so. Her time.
Are they still doing albums?
I mean, you still have an album and it drops, but I think more of the single world is how people make their money nowadays. The only person who gets like everybody sits down and listens to the album from beginning to end is Taylor Swift because her fans are crazy. Maybe crazy. Beyonce will get that too. It's the ones with the crazy.
Passionate.
Okay, the ones with the passionate fans. I mean, we're all right. Isn't that what Buckeye fans are? We're all just passionate fans. But yeah, Katy Perry. She's in. I mean, she was doing American Idol, and she has she's like residency in Vegas time of her career.
Okay, so that's what happens now. You go to residency in Vegas, and you do the things. There you go. All right. So that's where your game will be found. It'll be on Peacock. It'll be Buckeyes and Sparty. Obviously, there's a great deal of history between these two programs, and Michigan State has taken a lot from the Buckeyes over the years. They are in a building stage of their program now with Jonathan Smith, his first year on the job. I thought it was illuminating yesterday that he was trying to build it more in the Mark D'Antonio model rather than what they had with Mel Tucker, where Mel was swinging for the fences. Remember, Mark built it from the ground up, but he also would swing for the fences. I mean, he landed some five-star guys, certainly guys in Michigan who are five-star. There was a while where he took a great advantage of Michigan being down and landed the best players in Michigan kind of on a regular basis. This is not that team. That blew my mind when the guest we had on yesterday said 61 new players. It's just so hard for me to wrap my head around the idea of how crazy that would be to build an operation. The operation here obviously is very, very different. How big of a test will this be? Certainly more than what we've seen. But at the same time, this is about building towards something much, much bigger. One of the things that we've seen through the first month of the season is the absurdity of talent that is on this team offensively. Jeremiah Smith, all of the hype that was there through spring and through the summer and through fall camp has been validated in spades early on this season. He has been even better, I think, than anybody presumed he would be. He was available yesterday and was asked if all of the hype is getting to him.
I still feel like I'm just a regular freshman, but, a lot of people say I'm not. But, just the role that I have just coming in, it's been a blessing. I just can't say it's on me, it's on God, and just the coaches for trusting me to ever put a freshman out there and just to go out there and make plays and just do what I do.
It's not just trusting him to go out there and make plays. It's trusting him. I mean, he's been available several times. And they put him in major press conferences several times. Let's also all remember that there was a time when there was a freshman starting quarterback who was not made available all year. So and
when he wasn't available, he was flanked by two guys who are now college football coaches.
Dude, that was his junior year.
That was his junior year?
Well, no. His freshman year is when they made.
Didn't they make Marcus and James go out with him?
That was for the Sports Illustrated shoot and for the ESPN interview when he was a freshman. They made Marcus and James go, but he didn't do a press conference that entire freshman year.
No, that's why they started.
They started Beckman.
Yeah.
Beckman in the Fiesta Bowl. I was there, and we were all waiting. Everyone was going like, "Well, where's Terrell? Where's Terrell?" Like, we finally get to talk to him, and he didn't start. And the Fiesta Bowl people were pissed at Tress for that, big time. But even when I remember in New Orleans, that was when they played Arkansas. I remember when they played Arkansas, and the quarterback coach. Yeah, the quarterback coach at the time. Why am I blanking on who that was? The quarterback coach at the time sat behind him while he did media, and was like, "You're doing good, T. You're doing good." Like that type. He was a junior.
I wonder for people. Junior. Well, we'll talk to Tim May tomorrow. I wonder, Maurice Claret, what was his availability at that time?
That's a good question.
How has it evolved over the years for freshmen?
Braxton talked.
Because there was a time where...
And he started as a freshman. Not right away, but he started as a freshman.
Not too long ago, there were plenty of coaches that had straight up no talking for freshmen, ever. They do not go in front of the media. Kirk Ferentz had that. I remember that. That was a big deal when he got rid of it for their program.
Yeah, that's I don't know that you can do that anymore.
No, I don't think so.
I think we're past that where you have to be
Ferentz tried to outlaw Twitter.
Are you thinking Nick Siciliano?
Nick Siciliano. Yep, Nick Siciliano.
Is there any relation
to Andrew?
Yeah.
I don't believe so. That's the guy I was thinking of was Nick. He was the quarterback coach. He was sitting in that chair behind TP at the Sugar Bowl down in New Orleans. But yeah, you can't have freshmen not talk because Jeremiah Smith is anything but a typical freshman. Not only does he start, not only is he one of the most important players on an offense that quite honestly has a potential to be a straight up juggernaut, he's also a millionaire. There's that part of it too. So, like, he's an 18-year-old who has a lot at his feet. And it's just something we have to get used to in this sport. Like, this obviously has been happening in basketball for a long time, where guys who play 1 year of college and they get the bank from the NBA very, very quickly. Or in the case of some of these kids are getting bank. I mean, that Darren Peterson kid who's top 3 player in the country going into his senior years, a Canton native. He signed a 7-figure deal with Adidas as a 16-year-old. So this has been happening in hoops for a long time, and it's just starting to happen in football a little bit. I think it's really smart of Ohio State to continue to put him out there and acclimate him to everything. It's part of what we talked about yesterday with Will when we say we're treating him like a pro. They're doing the same thing with really everybody on their roster. They're making all of them available a lot, even the young kids. And what that does is it prepares you for the next level. We're going to play some sound for you in the third hour of the program for Deshaun Watson. And if Deshaun Watson were handled this way when he was at Clemson, perhaps what happened yesterday up in Cleveland wouldn't have happened, because there's a way to handle things, and they're teaching them the correct way here of how to deal with the media and handle it, how to be a pro. That's really what it is. NFLU isn't just positionally preparing you how to play for the next level and win football games along the way. It's also how to handle yourself off the field, how to handle yourself with the media.
Yeah, and yesterday Jeremiah Smith was asked about his transition into the college game, and I think the popularity of the college game has sort of led into what the NFL has on a much lighter level, but there are more informed fans as far as recruiting than ever right now.
Yeah.
And so a lot of these guys, these really top-end recruits, top 100 type guys that end up on teams, people know them when they arrive. They're already expected to be stars and expected to be contributors, just like in the NFL draft, the guys in the first and second round, people know who they are before they're even on their team.
It's the greatest minor league system in the history of sports. There are these kids are going to be, just think about how big of a superstar Jeremiah Smith is going to be by the time he's draft eligible.
Yeah.
By the time he's a junior. I mean, I don't know. I'll ask Paul about Julio Jones. He's coming up next. I'll ask him about Julio Jones as a freshman and how quickly did they realize he was built different, and see how quickly you knew that the ascent was going to be there with him. Paul will join us on that. He'll join us on Georgia and Bama playing on Saturday. Is it too soon for a game like this? I'll ask him coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
If you don't like listening to Morning Juice, Bobby Carpenter's man nipples will punch you in the face. For real.
You want to fight, do you?
Weekdays from 6 to 9.
The Fan.
Bobby Carpenter here for my good friends at Ohio Mulch. Stop into any of Ohio Mulch's convenient locations for topsoil at $19.99 a cubic yard, or get 20 bags for $20 in-store or online at ohiomulch.com. That's ohiomulch.com.
Scott from the Cleveland area has coached girls basketball and supported his granddaughter's athletic pursuits.
My granddaughters have worked hard to excel in sports. It's tough enough. So the idea that Sherrod Brown voted to allow transgender biological men to compete in girls' sports, it's unfair and dangerous. And introducing a bill to allow biological men in girls' locker rooms? Biological men to shower in my granddaughter's locker room? No way. I worry about the safety of my family constantly. Now I have to worry about Sherrod Brown's crazy liberal ideas. I thought Sherrod Brown was on my side, but he's way too liberal for me.
Sherrod Brown has let Ohio down. Now he's way too liberal for Ohio. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.senateleadershipfund.org.
Order like a champ at Raising Cane's. With tailgates of hand-battered chicken fingers and cane sauce and jugs of freshly made tea and lemonade, you can guarantee victory for every game day meal. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, one love.
Proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Barely 5 hours a week. It's how much time most of us spend outdoors. Not nearly enough time getting lost in canopies of breathtaking fall colors. Brilliant hues extending all across America's third most forested state. We could all use a little more time outdoors, soothing mind, body, and spirit in West Virginia. Plan your fall getaway at wvtourism.com.
Here's a quick listening guide. When something's on the fan, it's on the station you're listening to right now. If I say something's on ESPN Columbus, it's on 1460 AM and the Fan's HD2. When in doubt, stream it on the Fan app. Thank you and good night.
You expect your home to protect everything you love.
but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your basement and damaging your home. Mold, cracks, and of course visible water are just a few signs your basement is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns. A free home inspection from Ohio Basement Authority. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at ohiobasementauthority.com.
Breaking news? Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. If you need a new roof but you're not sure you can afford it, no problem. Right now, Able Roof is offering no payments, no interest until 2026 for qualified buyers. Yep, that's the same Able Roof that's been voted the #1 roofing company in Columbus by Consumer Choice Awards 22 years in a row. Want more? Able Roof will give you up to $1,000 off a new roof, siding, or windows. This is a limited time offer, so call Able Roof today.
Call Able for the proof. 444-ROOF.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text BREAK to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text BREAK to 321-321. That's BREAK to 321-321.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Bishop and Friends present college football's most polarizing figure.
Hey, Paul, how you doing? Come on back to our show, Tim. The audience hates you.
This is ESPN's Paul Finebaum, sponsored by the Roofing Guys. For all your roofing, siding, and gutter needs, contact the Roofing Guys at theroofingguys.com.
And Paul joins on the Bryant Heating Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Buddy, we've talked about this a lot. I'm envious of what Sankey did with the schedule and the SEC playing the hits. However, as we are on the cusp of Georgia and Bama playing on a Saturday night in September, juxtaposed to a 12-team playoff. Now, admittedly, I'm up here. I'm not down in the thick of it like you are. It doesn't feel like it has the same juice it would have because there are so many more matchups looming. For you, been around that league for so long, how does this one kind of sit in terms of the anticipation for it, knowing that if the loss happens, how big of a loss is it really?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, I've been on shows this week on ESPN where they talked about the game of the year, and it's the game of the year so far. But we both know Ohio State, Oregon, Georgia, Texas, possibly Alabama, Tennessee, depending on what happens. All of these games will be bigger. This is just the first time we've had a mega matchup because September has not had that many of them. We've had what we thought would be. So I think this is the result of the 12-team playoff. If we were back a year ago, I think this would have a far more significant meaning. Instead, the questions are, which coach has more pressure? Which team needs this more? And the answer is when you say, well, Georgia probably needs it more because they can't afford 2 more losses. I mean, we've never had conversations like that before.
No, we have not. I would assume the pressure is on Kalen DeBoer. It's in Tuscaloosa. Paul, I don't know that. I'll ask you. In my view, I don't know that he needs to win it, but they can't get housed either. Is that kind of the sense, or is it if he doesn't beat Georgia, there will be doubt?
He has so much goodwill that I don't think he needs to win the game. But you're right. I mean, if this is 37-3, everything that we've all said about him goes out the window. It happens that quickly, and it feels a little bit like a false sense of security because everybody has said the same thing about him. And I talked to a Sharpie yesterday in Vegas, and he said we go the opposite way when the parade's coming down the street. And right now, the parade's coming down the street for Alabama.
Yeah, yes, it has. What do you make of the matchup? This Georgia team, honestly, Mark Stoops, if he doesn't punt it, who knows? Maybe they're already have kind of a shocking loss. They obviously dismantled Clemson. In terms of on the field, what do you make of these two teams, and what is your gut feeling how this one goes on Saturday?
I'm in that parade right now, and I don't like to be in parades, but it feels like Alabama, and I hate to ignore the signs, and the trend lines are really bad for Georgia. Stoops bungling decision or not, they played terribly in that game, and they also played poorly in the first half of the Clemson game. And I think Clemson's a pretty good team, but by no means are they're not an elite team. I mean, they're a playoff team perhaps. So you have to read that, and there's a number of injuries on the Georgia side that also concern me. This is not a December Georgia team. This is a September team still trying to figure itself out.
A team that appears that it figured it out pretty quickly is Tennessee. Paul, that ended up, I think, a 10-point win. I watched all of it. It was not that close. I just thought Heupel kind of took it easy on Oklahoma, the alma mater, a little bit. It seemed like he could have poured it on and really chose not to. Tennessee going there and winning the way they did, does it say more about Tennessee or more about Oklahoma?
I think you have to look at it as a plus for Tennessee because again, that NC State win 3 weeks ago doesn't mean very much anymore. I mean, Clemson just took them apart. But to me, I still respect Oklahoma. They're starting to look like a 7-5 team, but I'm impressed. And you're right, Heupel, for whatever reason, said, you know what, we got this win. Why waste time? He got out of there, and some Tennessee fans have called me this week and are not happy about that. Can you imagine? You go out and you literally destroy Oklahoma, and you're mad at your coach for not running it up.
Well, I can, because college football fans' rational doesn't usually apply to them, my friend. I did not know who Matthew Sluka was, Paul, until yesterday morning. But we spent a great deal of time talking about kind of the precedent. And I'm not really interested in the he said, she said of all. Rather, just this is the first time this has happened. I'm sure you anticipated this happening. I know I anticipated it happening. What did you make of what happened at UNLV? And can you see this happening at the bigger levels of the sport in the coming weeks and months?
Yeah, I can. And what struck me the most was the hypocrisy of UNLV trying to make Sluka out to be some common criminal for asking for what he was already promised. But, yeah, we're going to see more of this. And because it's such a big deal and because everybody pays attention to everything else, some other quarterback or wide receiver somewhere is going, you know what, I haven't got my money either. Mm-hmm. And I can be the next guy. And it frankly, we both knew this was coming. But this is not going to be the tipping point. I was on with Greenberg earlier, and he acted like this is turning college sports upside down. It's really not, but it could if the week before the Ohio State-Oregon game or the Alabama-Auburn game or another one of these mega games, we see a player says, you know what, I don't believe I got paid last week.
That's exact. I actually used Alabama-Auburn. I used Hugh Freeze. I used the quarterback. I used Billy Napier as the example. Like, you could totally see it happening in one of those games. Like, I'm with you. It's funny. We're knee deep in the muck on this all the time. And it's amazing how many folks around the country aren't as locked into what's happening and the realities of it. I had so many people come up to me and be like, wait a second, there's no contract that they've signed? No, there isn't. That's the way that the system works at the moment.
That would be against the rules.
Right, which of course. Hey, how do you we talk about judging these SEC teams. A lot of them have already played monster matchups. In the case of Alabama, by the time they're done with the month, they'll have played Michigan and Georgia. Meantime, the team that we talk about primarily here has yet to play really anybody. They're at Michigan State this weekend. I don't think that's much of anybody either. How do you judge this Ohio State team a month in, Paul, juxtaposed to what you've seen from the top of the sport?
I mean, it's incomplete, and even though it is going to be one-sided, I think a lot of eyeballs will be on the Buckeyes tomorrow, Saturday night, just to get a feel for what this team is all about. Because I can't remember a major program that has completely taken the entire month of September off. So that's intriguing to me. I'm sure it's frustrating for Buckeye fans, and yeah, there's some shots coming in. And I've gotten into it with some Big Ten fans who say, well, you guys don't even play non-conference games. No, we don't. But I'll put my 8 conference games up against Akron, East Columbus High School, and West Georgia.
No, they don't want it either. I mean, it's the way the Big Ten decided to do it, and it sucks that it's the case. I wanted to ask you, we got a freshman receiver up here named Jeremiah Smith who's shot out of a cannon the first month of the season, and Ohio State's doing something really interesting with him in that they're basically treating him like he's a junior. He's available all the time to talk to the media, something that they didn't do previously with freshmen. They're putting him out there. It's part of this NFLU thing that they're working on where they're really trying to get guys ready for the pros on every level. The name that I keep hearing with Jeremiah was Julio Jones. What do you recall about Julio as a freshman? And what do you recall about the way that Saban handled him in terms of knowing he was special right away?
Well, first of all, he was Nick Saban has said this. He was the most important recruit that Nick Saban got at Alabama. It was his first off season. He came from Mobile, and he was all everything. And when he committed to Alabama, it shot the program through the roof. And he just did everything. He was – I don't even I remember his career very well, but in terms of comparison, I mean, he just looked like Jerry Rice personified. And I think some of it was his name too. But ultimately, I've been around Greg McElroy a number of times, and even though McElroy become a much bigger personality on broadcasting than he was a quarterback. Without Julio Jones, we probably would never know that name. He was that good. He helped Alabama to that national championship in 2009 and will forever be remembered.
Yes, he will be. And it's when you start getting compared to him, it's something I certainly take note of. Paul, good stuff as always, buddy. Appreciate you fitting us in on a very busy Thursday for you.
A pleasure. Thank you, Bo.
All right, that's our great friend Paul Finebaum, the Paul Finebaum Show of ESPN, the SEC Network, joining on the Brian Heating Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Friday Night Football rates, but should it? We'll get to that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We have so many local shows, I can't fit them in a 10-second promo. So let's just say we're live and local all damn day. The Fan.
Common Man here for Jermaine Lexus of Dublin and Easton. Fall is here. It's still warm and dry and everything's brown. But yay, fall. Maybe after your summer road trips, you've realized your vehicle sucks. My friends at Jermaine Lexus want to help. Right now, they have special APRs as low as 2.99% on their most popular models like the ES and RX, or lease payments starting as low as $4.99 a month. My friends at Jermaine are the best in the business. If you're in the market, please stop in. 2 locations to serve you, Dublin and Easton, JermaineLexus.com.
James Laurinaitis here for my guys at Green & Sons, the premier Kubota dealership in Central Ohio. I love my Kubota tractor, RTV, and zero-turn I got from Green & Sons, and you can check them out online at greenandsons.com or visit them in store in Mount Sterling or north of Marysville in Raymond for all your Kubota needs.
Hey, you've reached Teresa and Benny. You know the drill.
Hey, Teresa, it's Armando from Chase. Congrats on closing. I'm sure Benny will love playing fetch in your new backyard.
Your Chase Home Lending Advisor will be there from pre-approval to closing. We're with you all the way home. Chase, make more of what's yours. Visit chase.com/home. Home lending products subject to credit and property approval. Rates and program terms subject to change. Other restrictions apply. Member FDIC. Equal housing opportunity.
To Central Ohioans, fall means one thing, football. At Sears Heating and Cooling, fall also means one thing, furnaces. We're not plumbers or electricians. Nope. For 74 years, we've been your Central Ohio heating and cooling experts. Need an electrician or plumber? We'll gladly give you a referral, but we won't pretend to be your one-stop shop for all the trades. We're HVAC experts, and our mission is to provide the highest quality service at the best possible price. That's the local advantage of doing business with your neighbors at Sears Heating and Cooling. Online at SearsHeatingCooling.com.
Hi, this is Bob Capace from Worthington Jewelers. As a local family-owned business, we understand the importance of celebrating the ones we love. Stop in to find the perfect gift or check us out online at worthingtonjewelers.com.
Friday night in the Buckeye State means only one thing: high school football, baby. Join Brian Baker and Coach Lee Cochran for Byers Dublin Subaru High School Overtime.
Friday night at 9:30.
Your home of all things football, The Fan.
When you travel, they always say, get a room with a view. And there's no better way to travel than in a roomy new Toyota, like the best-selling RAV4. Now through September 30th, get 4.99 APR financing on a new gas-powered 2024 RAV4. Or lease a RAV4 LE for $339 a month for 36 months with $32.99 due at signing. With approved credit through TFS. Tax, title, and license extra. Call 1-888-36-TOYOTA for details or go to Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Your local Rite Aid might be closing, but don't worry. It's easy to transfer your prescriptions with GoodRx. First, check prices at GoodRx.com or on our app. Then show your coupon to the pharmacist. It's that simple. GoodRx can save you up to 80% on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, GoodRx is free, and it works whether you have insurance or not. Download the app or visit GoodRx.com today. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
Tommy, I can't wait for golf this weekend, huh, buddy? Time flies. Love you, man. Oh, don't forget your knee brace again. We aren't in college anymore.
Moments together matter, so help protect yourself from RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or severe diabetes, you're at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV, and there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
At GNC, we know motivation can come from anywhere. You could be at the gym, totally focused on yourself and your own goals. You refuse to be gym-intimidated. Maybe you're on a weight loss journey, a new path to change your life. Nothing's gonna stop you. Or maybe you're putting in overtime on those booty goals. No shame in getting those gains round back. You could just be out to prove that when it comes to pickleball, you are a pickle baller. No matter what motivates you, we have the fuel to keep you going. Fuel your fitness at GNC.
Want to know anything about the Fans contest, how to win, or what's up for grabs? Check out 971thefan.com. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
What's up?
What's up, man? Super juice.
Sponsored by High Bank Distillery, home of the best blended whiskey in America. Grab a bottle or dine in at their 2 restaurant locations in Grandview and Gahanna. Drink local, drink High Bank.
All right, here's what's up on a Thursday edition of the program. Friday Night Football is up. Turns out it rates. Fox has really had a nice one last week when you have Nebraska and Illinois, 2 ranked teams. Obviously, the environment was exceptional, as it would be down in Lincoln. Ends up in overtime with Illinois winning the game, and it rated quite well. And you're going to see more of this going forward for the fact that it rates. Now, the question will be, how willing of a participant will these schools be in wanting to play on Friday night? Ohio State has said that they have no real interest in it as much as they can. Michigan has said the same. Nebraska athletic director had some comments about it as well in a letter to the Big Ten, saying the university canceled in-person classes on Friday. I sent a letter yesterday to the commissioner with the blessing of the president and the chancellor formally requesting not to host Friday night games outside of Thanksgiving every other year, the game with Iowa. Because of the size of the stadium and our locale, I don't think we want to be canceling classes, canceling in-person classes. I'm sure the students didn't mind, but at the end of the day, the more we can avoid that, I think the better it will be for everybody. I do think it's crafty that they tied like the students into this, as if that was part of the reason.
Think of the children. They were claiming that because of the traffic, because it seats 90,000 in Memorial Stadium, that nobody could get around. And don't most students walk to class?
Of course they do.
Do you not have any events on weeknights? No events, no concerts in your basketball arena, no basketball games, for instance. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't. And I love the idea that this is just one of those. It's just a great opportunity for one of these suits to like put it back to remember, we are students. We're students here. We're people acquiring an education, and there's that part of it as well. Look, I feel pretty strongly about Friday night being for high schools. I think high school football on a Friday night is a magical experience. I've said many times this fall, it's like maybe the last communal thing we have. If you go to your high school football game in your town on a Friday night, you will see the town represented in many instances there. And I think that that's really awesome and undefeated. I'm also not naive, and I'm aware that if it rates, they're going to do more of it. And these are rating, and they will rate, and they'll continue to rate. Same thing that we've often said about the fourth window on Saturday nights. Fox is doing a grand experiment this weekend, 11 p.m. for the it's UCLA and Oregon is 11 o'clock on Fox this Saturday night. So that's crazy, but it'll rate. It's going to rate, and that's the thing that's going to matter going forward. Furthermore, I've seen discussion this week about, and I said this kind of tongue-in-cheek yesterday, like Tuesdays and Wednesdays kind of being like a football vacation, right? Well, or football weekend if you want. Does Monday Night Football, would it be better off if they played on Monday and Tuesday? So they're doing the doubleheader again this week in the NFL. They're playing at 7:15 and 8:30. Would they have been better off if they played one of the games on Monday and the other game on Tuesday? Probably. They'd probably rate bigger if they did that. But when is enough enough? Mm-hmm. And that will be the challenge of how greedy will these television partners be, and how much will the adults in the room have enough to be able to withstand that? How much can they say no? Because everybody knows that NFL teams don't need to be playing on Tuesdays, but quite honestly, everybody knows NFL teams shouldn't be playing on Thursdays. That's not enough time to get healthy and get right. But it rated, and in the instance of what they have going on right now in the NFL, it rated so much that Amazon paid a premium for it, right? So you will see more of this going forward. Will there be a no from administrators? Will there be a no from NFL owners? My hunch to that is no, there won't be. That they will continue to push the envelope on football. And my hunch is that what you're eventually going to get is football 7 days a week.
Because they can outwardly say no all they want. Troy Dannon can address a letter to the Big Ten. And I was reading about this letter. There was a story about when all this was being negotiated with the television networks that Nebraska, Michigan, Ohio State, Michigan State, Penn State all raised their hands in that meeting and said, no, we don't want to play on Fridays. Well, Michigan State, now they played a neutral site, but they played on Fridays. We just saw Nebraska play on Fridays. Ohio State they played Northwestern on Friday, but that was before this TV deal, so I don't know how to factor that into it. But Ohio State has also played on a Friday, and the biggest question is, it's the problem with the conferences and everybody who is at the top in leadership now, because they love to send out the press release and brag about their new TV deal and how much money they are going to be able to distribute to all 18 teams in the Big Ten. And then when it comes time to give the services that they are paying you for, now you have something to say. Okay, are you giving back $5 million? Because you guys all agreed to this. This was the agreement. NBC or Fox or whoever wants some Friday night games, and you're going to have to give it to them, or you're going to have to give some of the money back. And I know they're not interested in that. So they can try to turn it around that, it makes it too hard for the students, and it makes it all this. And I agree with you on Friday night should be for high school football. But they went down this road and accepted the money and signed the contracts.
It's too late.
And even when it comes time to renegotiate, we're going to get hit, the consumers, with the upcharge that the conference is going to go, or the television networks are going to go to the conferences and say, well, here's more money.
Of course.
And they're going to say, oh, well, yeah, okay, bleep them kids then and their education, because more money. And so this is, to me, just posturing.
I agree. And if you're talking about getting the hit on us, the consumer, you're going to hit with that on Saturday night. Because if you don't have Peacock, you're not watching the Buckeyes. So you're going to hit with that on Saturday night. Beyond that, bad boy streams for Reese. Beyond that, I remember talking to Holtman about this last year, and I asked him directly, are you concerned that you're not on ESPN? And he said, yeah, I am. I am concerned. Are you concerned that you have a dozen or so games on Peacock? Yes, I am concerned. We talked about this earlier in this week with the Big Ten schedule. How many weekend games did the Buckeye basketball team have? Not many. What is it, 3?
Because their network partners aren't prioritizing the weekends anymore.
No, it used to be you were on ESPN. You'd be ESPN on Saturday night. You'd get a CBS game with Clark Kellogg, and you'd get that and Jim Nance on a Sunday afternoon. Those days are gone, man. They are using athletics to prop up servers. It's crazy. It is absolutely crazy what is happening. And the brunt of it is going to fall on you and us, the consumer. That's just the way it's going to go. And that part sucks because you're going to have to pay for you're going to see more of this. Paramount Plus is going to end up with a bunch of games in the Southeastern Conference with their television partners. There's going to be more and more of this going forward, and they're going to use sports to prop up all of this stuff. And the reason is because it's the last thing that still rates.
Yeah, and not to mention Venue hasn't even launched yet. The partnership between Fox and NBC
Venue
and
might
ESPN.
be dead. They're going to be tied up in court. I was just reading something about that the other day.
Don't you think what you're going to get is just one thing thrown at a wall to see what sticks after another?
Yeah, it's going to be the first time.
Mechanism.
Well, yeah. And what I've noticed with all the streamers is every quarter they want to show subscription growth. So eventually the sports number is going to reach its critical mass, and they'll have to move on to something else that drives people. I don't know what they're going to find. But the people who are going to get Peacock are going to get it, and then I don't know how much you can grow from there. There are going to be people who just won't, I think, out of principle.
Yeah.
And then there's no more growth from sports.
So that's where you'll see Peacock Plus tiers. And they'll stick you with advertisements and
that's coming.
Yeah.
I mean, that pisses me off tonight, like on the Thursday night game. Why am I watching advertisement on Thursday Night Football? I pay for Amazon Prime.
Going to pay for
Why
that
do I have
Lord of
ads?
the Rings series they spend $500 million on that's annoying.
That didn't land.
I have a theory that soccer didn't grow as a popular sport to watch on TV in this country because the powers that be were like, well, we can't put commercials on during the game, so we're not going to promote it.
There might be something to that. It's week 6 of high school football. The Fans Game of the Week heads to London as they host Bell Fountain. Coverage starts at 6:30, kickoff at 7. This week's game is on ESPN 1460 AM and 97.1 HD2. So take note of that. This is the Tavion St. Clair game. After the game, it's Byers Dublin Subaru overtime with Bake and Lee Cochran on the Fan. The game is on ESPN Columbus. Overtime is on the Fan. Your mailbag coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on the Fan.
Here's a listener tweet. Can I tase Common Man in the nuts? Fine by us, but he may like it. Common Man and Tebow.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
The Fan.
At Byers Auto, we've been football fans since 1897, back when tailgates had actual tails. Our legacy of supporting our local team is as strong as our commitment to providing exceptional vehicles. While we're known for our new cars, we also offer a variety of pre-owned vehicles that meet our rigorous standards. Our friendly staff is here to help you find the perfect vehicle for your lifestyle and budget. Visit us in person or shop online at byersauto.com. Come see why it's better to buy at Byers.
Common Man here for Care Heating and Cooling. Weather is unpredictable, but the inside of your home should be comfortable just the way you like it. And the best way to avoid those unnecessary surprises is with a care plan. See, with a care plan, you get priority service, system maintenance in case of an emergency. Just another way to give you and your family peace of mind. And maintaining your systems properly can help save you money. A properly maintained furnace and air conditioner run more efficiently, reducing your utility usage. Regular maintenance also prevents breakdowns and extends the life of your equipment. I'm on the care plan, and I'm quite the expert. I'll stop by and give your system a once-over. I will. Don't tempt me. I end every commercial the same way, telling you to hire Care when you need a company you can trust. It's not just the slogan. That's the Care creed. How about this? Lennox. They have thousands of dealers nationwide. HVAC royalty. Last year, Lennox gave Care their coveted Partner of the Year award because they're trusted by their customers and their partners. Care Heating and Cooling. Call 1-800-COOLING or book an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com when you need a company you can trust.
Jeremy Foltz, CEO and co-founder of 3C Technology Solutions, speaks about working with First Bank of Central Ohio.
I think FBCO had a really nice personal touch. Transition was really easy and much cleaner than I thought it would be. Some very specific things that made me very excited to work with them are availability and creativity.
Experience what it's like to be first at First Bank of Central Ohio. Visit fbcentralohio.com for more details. Member FDIC. An equal housing lender.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. If you need a new roof, but you're not sure you can afford it, no problem. Right now, Able Roof is offering no payments, no interest until 2026 for qualified buyers. Yep, that's the same Able Roof that's been voted the #1 roofing company in Columbus by Consumer Choice Awards 22 years in a row. Want more? Able Roof will give you up to $1,000 off a new roof, siding, or windows. This is a limited time offer, so call Able Roof today.
Call Able for the proof. 444-ROOF.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check that your guests like spicy first before serving Atomic Hot Wings.
Who's hungry? Oh my gosh. What are these?
You don't like them? Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds.
Water.
You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
At the Home Depot, we know you can't control everything, like when your guests arrive too early for Saturday college football. But you can control your grill. With the Traeger Timberline XL, you can watch the game, not the grill. Monitor your football feast from anywhere using the Traeger app. With the Timberline XL, you can bake, smoke, sear, fry, and saute. That's Desmond Howard level versatility. Huddle up, the food's done. Defend your game time with Traeger and the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. Number 3 Ohio State opens Big Ten play Saturday. Buckeyes are 23.5-point favorites at Michigan State for a 7:30 p.m. kick. Hear from Ohio State's head coach today at noon on the Ryan Day Show. In the NFL, Week 4 begins tonight near New York. The Giants host the Cowboys at 8:15. Hear that game on the Fan following the Inside Edge. Last night at Nationwide, the Blue Jackets blanked the Blues 3-0 in Game 2 of the preseason. CBJ will skate in Washington tomorrow night against the Capitals. In baseball, the Columbus Clippers play in Omaha versus the Storm Chasers in Game 3 of the IL Championship. That's tonight at 7:35. Winner there goes to the AAA National Championship. This update sponsored by Roosters. Roosters is giving away 12 ultimate Buckeye experiences, tickets, sideline passes, a trip to a postseason game, and more. Register today at roosterswings.com. Breaking sports news when it happens on the Fan, Ohio sports destination.
They'll offer betting advice, but don't bet on it being good. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, second hour here on a Thursday edition of the program. Time to open up that mailbag.
Yesterday?
No, I was at basketball tryouts for 4.5 hours.
Yeah, that's
NBC has seen it. I watched it with him before the start of basketball season last year, so he has seen the program. I just fast forward through the is it Latimer who does the
that's not a good
the one
scene,
but that's not great. But
no.
so I just fast forward.
But it's not a case of not aging well. It's supposed to be bad there too.
It was bad then too.
Yeah,
it was bad then. It's bad now. It's bad all the time. Let's hit the mailbag.
Our comment box is always open. Any feedback is mostly appreciated.
The mail never stops. It just keeps coming and coming and coming. There's never a let up. It's relentless. Every day it piles up more and more and more, and you got to get it up. And the more you get out, the more it keeps coming in.
Bishop and Friends present emails.
All right, let's start with this one from Dale. The subject matter is UNLV quarterback. He said, listening today, the UNLV quarterback story really piqued my interest. Could not the university double down and suspend any sports scholarship separate from NIL for breach of that agreement and start charging him full tuition? If he won't pay the tuition, suspend him from UNLV. Thanks, and go Bucks. Dale from Southern Maryland. I suppose, but I don't think any institution would want to do that. It probably would not hold up in a court of law, which would prove that they're employees, not student athletes, which they lose on every single time that they go to court. The other thing is the look of it would be really brutal. It would be a really brutal look, and it would be one of those things that would be held against them in recruiting. Here's the long and short of it, Dale. Because there are no rules, there really is no protection for player, university, collective, any of it right now. So it is truly a trust business. I think any sort of lashing out towards the athlete would only come back to harm the university tenfold down the line in recruiting and in NIL and everything else. The word of mouth would be brutal. This UNLV situation is already brutal enough. If it was a bigger program, it would be so much worse than it is. And I think we will see it at a bigger program. But I don't know that you would ever want to do that as a university, despite the notion of, I want my pound of flesh. I don't think there's any win for the university there.
Well, plus, how can you not look vengeful? Because what do you do with this semester's payment? They pay for the semester, so that's stealing money from the school. Do you give it back to the donor? Because the school can't keep it. If you're not giving them the scholarship, then it's not being paid. That would be just way too messy. The route they did go, I don't know if you saw UNLV release a statement, but
I did.
Yeah,
their collective released one. Yeah,
UNLV Athletics interpreted these demands as a violation of the NCAA pay-for-play rules as well as Nevada state law. UNLV does not engage in such activity, nor does it respond to implied threats. Blah blah blah. It goes on.
Okay, so you're not going to be a serious football program.
Yeah. Calling Sluka out for asking what you would pay for him to play. They're not paying him. They're paying him. They're not paying him, and throwing him under the bus at the same time. And
not great.
So they've already kind of sailed the ship on looking bad to other transfers, I think.
Well, there was their running back is also doing the same thing. He came out and said that, or one of their two tailbacks said that he's going to do the same thing. But he claims it's not for NIL, but because of opportunities on the field. And I'm wondering, in the portal, did they promise him something that they didn't deliver? It's like, all right, so you're breaking promises on two fronts. Yeah. And then you're doing this with the statement UNLV made yesterday. Like, none of this is great. And also, like, a USC defensive tackle.
Yeah, Bear Alexander. I saw that.
Like, this is... It's starting to, pile on.
Well, and they played for the Mountain West Championship last year, and then their quarterback transferred to USC. So I think they're just trying to hold on to that success because they're a program that's never really had any real football success, but they are doing like the old recruiting ways in the transfer portal of telling kids whatever it takes to get them there and then just completely flipping the script. But the problem is players have so much more mobility and power to do what they want now that doesn't work. And most programs have changed from that method, even with freshmen.
Alex, with this one, exhaustion is the subject matter. Exhaustion with the $20 million roster, in quotes. Mr. Bowe and friends, the national media approach to a $20 million Ohio State roster is rapidly approaching exhaustion. Has anyone on the Ohio State beat actually reported this number? It seemed to me the specific $20 million number is entirely fabricated and reported as truth by people like Desmond Howard and Brady Quinn. Regardless of the number, why is it reported as the Buckeyes are the only team leveraging this new and largely legal NIL landscape? Because there are no formal reporting requirements for NIL, $20 million could be a significant amount or an entirely insignificant amount relative to other programs. A great point. A degree of objectivity and contextual analysis from the national media would be refreshing, to say the least. On a similar note, yesterday, a Michigan man told me anyone can pay $20 million for a roster, and I responded, everyone should. Good job at you, Alex. He scampered off before I could ask him how much money Michigan laundered through vacuum repair businesses in Wyoming. All the best and go Bucks. Great job at Alex on this email. I love this. The $20 million number came from Ross in a presser. He's the one who dropped that's where that number came from. Remember, several years ago, we were at Muirfield, and Ryan Day talked about $13 million, and that was 2 or 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. I am tired of it, too. My response to this, Alex, has always been, yeah, so wait till you see what we do next. I don't think that Buckeye fans should view it as a sense of negativity, but rather a sense of pride. This is the sport, your big state, you pull out your chest and act accordingly, and that's what they did. The one thing I will give you, I will certainly acquiesce to in your email, Alex, is there is no question that nobody else is being talked about with this roster the way Ohio State is. Mm-hmm. There's no question. Big Noon does it a lot. They reference it a lot. I think that's where the Brady line comes from. Like, Georgia's doing this, Bama's doing it, Texas is doing it. Like, what is Texas paying their 2 quarterbacks? 10? Like, just for 2 quarterbacks. So, like, the idea that part is valid. Ohio State, for whatever reason, is the only program that this is talked about. But quite honestly, it's happening everywhere. He also brings up a good point. That number might actually be low. There could be others paying more. Who knows? And that part is growing tiresome. But I would say his answer to everyone should is the correct one, and I hope more Buckeye fans take that tact.
Yeah, it's sort of just a they hate us because they ain't us like situation with it. And Ohio State, that number's out there, so everybody keeps reporting it. But it's so funny that everybody's like, man, Ohio State had to pay $20 million. Guys, that's the number that the settlement that they're working on with the NCAA is supposed to be at for the roster. So if you aren't paying that right now, your program is actually going to be in trouble. You should look into that a little bit more, because that's what the number is going to be if this goes through. And it has its own complications right now with the settlement. But yeah, I don't know. It has not bothered me very much. I had a buddy who was like,
it shouldn't bother anybody.
Where are they getting that $20 million number? Why are they saying it? It's like, who cares?
It's not your money. Don't worry about it.
And the players are on the team. Be the Yankees.
Who cares?
Joel on the Big Noon broadcast of Ohio State Marshall was railing against the $20 million. He's like, that's not the correct figure. And Gus is like, Russ Bjork said that.
Yeah,
it's
he
like,
fact-checked him.
What?
Yeah.
Live on the air. It's like,
I know.
We need to, like,
he pulled up the quote on the air
with this.
Yeah.
They did it. The guy in charge of the entire athletic department said it, and it's totally fine. Everybody should be doing this. If you're not doing it, you're an idiot.
Yeah, he didn't say it on a secret recording that somebody did in a closed-door meeting.
He just said it to
everyone.
This isn't like Tim May got a scoop somehow.
No.
Like, come on.
Bryce with this. The subject is the Big Ten schedule. Hey, guys, love the show and listen daily. Originally from Columbus area, now live in Cincy. Also lived in Cleveland for 4 years where I listen daily. Appreciate your loyalty, Bryce. There's been a lot of talk about the Big Ten schedule not playing the hits. While the Big Ten set the known scheduling criteria, players selected rivals every year, play every other conference member at least twice a year over a 5-year period. There's another criterion the conference utilized that was not disclosed publicly. During the Tuesday show, Chops wrote the fact that Ohio State canceled the Washington non-conference game when USC-UCLA joined to avoid making 2 trips out west. This was also brought up by me on Tuesday, 9/19 show. I believe the Big Ten applied this to their scheduling and limited all Eastern schools to a single Western road trip per season. Looking at the Big Ten conference schedule through 2028, none of the 14 Eastern members are scheduled to make 2 Western road trips in a single season. I have no evidence to prove this. This was intentional by the conference, but I also put it in an email, so it must be true. Good job out of you, Bryce. I didn't look into it that far, but if he did the homework on it, he put it in an email, it must be true.
I know that they are trying to, they said that at one point. I want to look that up and see if I can find that the Big Ten is trying to load you either with your bye the week before or the week after that you have a West Coast road trip. And this is a year where you're dealing with 2 byes anyways, but maybe they didn't want to waste both byes for somebody. But
I'll be honest with you,
only have one.
It's not that big of a deal in football. It's a much bigger deal in the non-revenue sports. In football, it's really not.
It's a longer plane ride, but it's a chartered flight.
It's a chartered flight.
Now,
they're not connecting through Sheboygan.
If you get stuck with an 11 p.m. start, if they make you go out there and you're an East Coast team and you do that, and then you're not home until, I don't know, 8 a.m. on Sunday.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Here's one from Bob. The subject is Cal and Stanford. Notre Dame has already signaled what might happen to Cal and Stanford. If Notre Dame ever agrees to join the Big Ten, it is likely they will insist that Cal and Stanford come with them. That leaves the question of who the 4th or perhaps 5th, 6th teams would be. Notre Dame would not be in a position to demand anything, provided that ever happened, and they would have no care about Cal. I proposed, and I think sometimes this is how this gets lost in the weeds, is I propose the Big Ten adding Cal and Stanford to further strengthen the West Coast, but also to force Notre Dame's hand via Stanford. Because if you then said, none of our teams are going to play you, who the hell is Notre Dame playing? You would then play their biggest rivals. You'd be playing Stanford. You'd be playing Michigan. You're talking about historically they played Michigan State through the years, Ohio State through the years,
USC.
Purdue through the years, and of course USC. So all of those things were kind of where that does, and sometimes that one gets lost in the weeds. This one from Will. This is a good one. The subject, Chip Kelly, evil genius. I loved you guys referring to Chip Kelly as the evil genius, just calling plays up in the booth. For whatever reason, it reminded me of this old Muppets gag where the villains, when concocting an evil plan, would repeatedly say the words maniacal laugh over and over rather than actually laughing maniacally. Really down a wormhole here, but it would be fantastic if you guys could throw some maniacal laughter on when discussing Chip and his lair drawing up evil ball plays. If you search memes of maniacal laughs, there's some really good stuff that comes up. So there could also be a good Twitter thread of TV and movie villains just laughing. Newman, Mr. Burns, Dr. Evil. Really good one of Buster Bluth and after drinking too much juice. That one is amazing. Anyway, love the show. Keep up the good work. We'll work on that. Maniacal laughter.
That feels like, some people have this. I'm thinking especially of whenever Tiger makes a great putt or whatever, Beam does that Tiger pouncing gif. Maybe we need to figure out which maniacal character we think is Chip Kelly. And if there's a really good design play, just tweet out that picture. No, nothing else.
I love maniacal.
Yeah,
I love maniacal.
Maniacal laugh. Maniacal laugh. Maniacal laugh. Maniacal laugh.
I did a show on the Ohio News Network when it used to exist called the Average Joe Sports Show, and we would end every show with Statler and Waldorf from the Muppets saying that our show sucked. It was amazing. Yeah, they just boo. These guys stink. It was so great. Finally, this one from Ross. We forget how lucky we are. I'm sitting here watching the Guardians get another first-round bye, and Schulte and the boys sing the national anthem before another trophy match against another Mexican club on this fine first Friday. I'm struck with a moment of clarity. The NFL may elude the state of Ohio, but we do everything else pretty damn well. Our soccer teams are great. Our baseball teams are relevant. Our basketball is pretty consistent. We have one of 4 elite college football programs. Fans eat it all up. We are so lucky to have what we do have, even if the Browns, Bengals, and Jackets make us want to pull our hair out. Cheers to what we've got, and keep falling in love with the crew, from Ross. It's a great point. Yes, this is why the warm blanket that is Buckeye football, and we talk about that a lot, but he's right. You talk about the crew, the Guardians, the Cavs, awesome organizations across the board. It is the Browns and the Bengals that have eluded, although both have been pretty good over the last 5 or 6 years. It's just haven't garnered that ultimate prize. Great set of emails. A ton more they couldn't get to. We'll try to get to those next week. Keep them coming. We'll do them every single Thursday. It's funny, we're talking about NIL and how folks have an idea about what the perception of it is versus the reality of it. I think the same is true with the 12-team playoff. We'll explain coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Tweet from a listener. Are you carrying the Buckeye game today? Considering we've never not carried one, yes. The answer is yes. The Fan.
Bobby Carpenter here for my good friends at Ohio Mulch. Ready to give your landscaping a boost? Right now, get topsoil for $19.99 a cubic yard or grab 20 bags for $20. From rich, natural mulches to nutrient-packed soils, stop into any of Ohio Mulch's convenient locations and see what all the excitement is about. Visit in-store or online at ohiomulch.com.
Ohio Mulch, landscape supply, greener, greener, better.
I didn't expect to, but I need to get a new health insurance plan. The good news is I found Health Markets. I went to healthmarkets.com and saw plans available in my area. They have access to more than 200 carriers across the country. And if you need help, you can just speak with a licensed insurance agent. It's all right there for you.
Discover the advantages of real personalized service today at healthmarkets.com. Health Markets Insurance Agency, Inc. is licensed as an insurance agency nationwide except in Massachusetts. Paid actor per trail.
With fall savings at the Home Depot, you can get up to $1,600 off select appliances from top brands like Samsung, ranked #1 in customer satisfaction. Wash and dry in one cycle with the Samsung Ultra Capacity All-in-One Washer-Dryer Combo from the Home Depot. And get laundry day done faster, running a super speed load in just 98 minutes. Right now, shop fall savings for up to $1,600 off select appliances at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Pricing about September 26th through October 16th. U.S. only. See store online for details. Visit jdpower.com/awards for more details.
Good morning, Doctor.
Doctor?
Hi, Doctor.
Doctor?
Dr. Jackson's practice is growing.
What do you mean we're still short-staffed?
He needs a good patient doctor.
How do we not have enough doctors to doctor all these patients?
And he doesn't have the patience to sift through hundreds of resumes.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
We have a lot of football happening. I'm here to help. Set your radio preset to the Fan. Very good. Now set the second one to ESPN Columbus. It's the HD2 button. Lastly, go to the Fan's HD3 and save the Fan 3. Crisis averted. You're welcome.
Hey, it's Steve. Sorry couldn't get to the phone. Leave a message at the beep.
Hey, it's Jason from Chase. Congrats on closing day. Hope your daughter enjoys the new pool.
Start your house buying journey today with the Chase My Home digital dashboard. From applications to managing your mortgage, we're with you all the way home. Chase, make more of what's yours. Visit chase.com/home. Restrictions and limitations apply to the access of Chase My Home. Home lending products subject to credit and property approval. Rates and program terms subject to change. Other restrictions apply. Member FDIC. Equal housing opportunity.
Heaven on earth. It's here in the mountain towns of West Virginia. Draped in vibrant reds, yellows, and oranges. Some of America's most spectacular fall colors. The perfect backdrop to autumn adventure. From scenic train rides to fall festivals. And a cozy cabin waiting at the end of the day. Fall is almost heaven in West Virginia. Plan your getaway at wvtourism.com.
Scott from the Cleveland area has coached girls basketball and supported his granddaughter's athletic pursuits.
My granddaughters have worked hard to excel in sports. It's tough enough. So the idea that Sherrod Brown voted to allow transgender biological men to compete in girls' sports, it's unfair and dangerous. And introducing a bill to allow biological men in girls' locker rooms? Biological men to shower in my granddaughter's locker room? No way. I worry about the safety of my family constantly. Now I have to worry about Sherrod Brown's crazy liberal ideas. I thought Sherrod Brown was on my side, but he's way too liberal for me.
Sherrod Brown has let Ohio down. Now he's way too liberal for Ohio. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.senateleadershipfund.org.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Cloudy and dry today with a high of 78. Rain and wind on your Friday with a high of 79. Winds could gust upwards of 35 miles per hour tomorrow. Scattered showers on Saturday with a high of 79. Mostly cloudy on Sunday with a high of 80. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecasts on 97.1 The Fan.
Sports conversation that's worthy of a toast, or at least a stiff drink. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
right, no Peacock. No problem. We got you covered, as we do for every single Buckeye game. The Fan is here for you. You can listen to the Buckeyes and Sparty, and here's how you can do it. The Fan is free. The Peacock is not. Fan has Paul Keels and Jim Lachey. Peacock does not. Fan is home of the Buckeyes. Peacock does not. Listen to the Buckeyes at Michigan State Saturday at 7:30 on the Fan and the Fan app. Here's what else you can do. This is what I will be doing on Saturday night. I will sync up, because I can pause Peacock. I will sync up the game with the broadcast on the radio. That's really easy to do on the streamers. Not as easy to do on live TV. On the streamers, though, it's cake.
And the good news about that, you'll get more Buckeye content, not just with Paul Keels and Jim Lachey, which is a great get, but they come back before the commercial breaks most of the time. So
they do.
There's more time to hear about the Buckeyes and less time to hear about the commercials. Listen to the Fan.
That's true. All of that is true. We got you covered on that. I talked about this in regard to NIL. Like, it's funny. I mentioned earlier, I was at basketball tryouts last night, and it's funny. Two of my very best friends just sent me an email, a text rather, about the UNLV thing. And like, hey, did you see this? I'm like, well, yeah, I do this a lot. Yeah, I saw it. But it's funny how we are knee deep in the muck in the middle of it. And so we know the intricacies, the details, all of it. We know how these things are happening. We're aware of the fact that there are no rules right now and there are no protections for anybody. We are all aware of all of those things. Most people are not. Most people assume that there are contracts. Most people assume that there are protections, because that's how any rational organization would work. Any forward-thinking organization would work that way, but that's not what the NCAA is. They drove the boat into the iceberg, and now you have a scattered mess throughout the North Atlantic. The same, I think, could be true of the playoff. I think unless you are someone who pays very close attention, you probably just heard, and probably a great many of you out there listening right now, love college football, love your Buckeyes, heard 12-team playoff and thought, awesome, 12 best teams, winner take all, let's go. No, that's not what's going to happen. So just for perspective on this, and I thought we should do this, especially in regards to Georgia and Bama playing this weekend, because that is obviously a monster, and it's a game that if it were played, normally they only play in the Big Ten championship game. And the fact, I actually think the SEC made a bit of a mistake here playing this game. I don't think it was necessary based on everything else that they've done. I went over Georgia's schedule. It's absolutely diabolical what the Bulldogs are having to do without having to play Alabama. So shoehorning this one in late September is quite nuts. And I think it will take some of the luster off of it. But in relation to that, I thought it'd be important to kind of take a look at what you would perceive a 12-team playoff to be using the AP poll versus the realities of what the 12-team playoff will be using the rules that are put in place by the college football playoff and the way that this thing's actually going to look. So follow along, if you will. The perceived, I think by most, 12-team playoff would look like this. Texas would get a bye, Georgia would get a bye, Alabama would get a bye, and Ohio State would get a bye. Those are the four top-ranked teams in the country. That's 1 through 4. So those would be your 4 byes in a traditional 12 best teams get in based on subjective polling, right?
That would be your CFP in the 4-team model, too.
Those would be it.
Right.
You're right. In the 4-team model, those would be your 4. That's the way it would work. So it'd be Texas and Alabama, Georgia and Ohio State. Those 2 winners would play for a national title. All right. So then if you follow the AP poll, Tennessee, the 5, would be hosting Michigan. The 6 would be Ole Miss. They would be hosting Missouri. The 6 would be Ole Miss. They'd be hosting Missouri. The 7 would be Miami. They would be hosting Utah. And Oregon would be hosting Penn State. Okay? So that's how it would look in a 12 best teams as decided by the AP poll. By the way, the College Football Playoff Committee is just as subjective as the AP poll. It's just what people think. This isn't the NFL. It's not the NBA. It's just, hey, we think these are the best teams. There you go. That's how it would play out. This is what it's going to look like if the college football playoff started this weekend. So the 1 seed would be Texas. They would be the 1.
So
they would get a bye.
We're good.
So that's the same. The 2 now would be Ohio State. Okay? They would have a bye the other way. Fine. They're the 2. They're the Big Ten representative. The 3 seed would be 7th-ranked Miami.
That's back.
3. Okay, so they're back. So they'd be a 3 seed right now if the playoffs started today. The 4 seed receiving a bye would be 10th-ranked Utah, representing the Big 12. Okay, so now let's play it out. The 5 in the college football playoff, if it started right now using the AP poll as guidelines, would be Georgia. Georgia, the second-ranked team in the country, would be the 5. They would be hosting Boise State. Okay? So Boise State is the highest-ranked group of 5. They're ranked 25th in the poll right now. Georgia would be hosting Boise State in the 5-12 game. The 6-11 game would be Bama the 6 hosting Missouri. Okay? So Missouri would be the 11. Bama would be hosting Missouri. The 7 game would be Tennessee. Tennessee would be hosting Penn State. Okay? And then the 8-9 would be Ole Miss hosting Oregon. So if you're keeping track, yes, 4 SEC teams would be hosting college football playoff games in the new college football playoff. And a total of 5 SEC, 5? No,
Yeah,
6 SEC teams would make the playoff.
Oh, but
because
5
Missouri's
would be
the
in that
11.
first round, yeah.
Yeah,
They'd
5
have
of them in the
8
first round, and Texas is in. So you'd have 6 SEC teams in the college football playoff if the playoff started now using the AP poll as guidelines. It's important to remember this because there is a perception that you're getting the 12 best teams. You're not getting the 12 best teams in a subjective poll. You're getting the 12 teams that fit a criteria that avoids them being sued for antitrust.
Yeah, and
that's what you're getting.
I think this exercise also helped us really illustrate how it's going to be different than what you think the seating is going to be. And that's why I said that a few weeks ago, that like the CFP reveal show is going to have to be really careful about how they show the top 25 and how they show the bracket. I don't know which one they're going to decide to show first, but they have to explain and maybe have parentheses around the actual ranking, but that's just going to confuse people more. This one, this shows you how it can get weird. At least this one, Boise State's the only crasher of the party. At least the ACC and the Big 12 guys, Miami and Utah, they are in the top 12 right now, but it really just messes with the seeding. But yeah, it's funny that Texas remains number 1. That makes sense. They're number 1. They'd be number 1 in this scenario. If Notre Dame was number 1, they'd have to be 5 for that matter. But Missouri is the only one. For somehow they just stay in the same spot at 11. Other than that, every other seed is different. So what is that? 10 of 12 seeds are different than the top 12.
I'm trying to remember who CNN's political reporter is. I think it's like Steve Kornacki for NBC. Just work with me here. They get the ABC equivalent of it because it's Disney. He's just got to go up on the touch screen and just start drawing.
Yeah.
Like here's why they're doing this because it's why they're doing this. Like he might need to have a larger touch screen than the map of America, but just to kind of explain, hey, here's what the AP poll says, and they just start making lines. Because I don't know if words are going to be able to do it. Like, we're very visual learners in this country, I've learned. That might be your best way to explain all of this.
It's the reality of what, you hear as a casual fan or even a big-time college football fan, you hear 12-team playoff, 12 best teams. No, not.
And there's going to be a rule that we're not even thinking of that's going to mean something, I bet.
There are 2 other things I wanted to dig into on this. Number 1, how beneficial it is and how lucky they are right now that Miami and Utah are ranked. And you mentioned the college football playoff poll when they released those, which is just, honest to God, stupid. Why it's stupid, we'll get into that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
1, 2, 3. Here in The Fan is always football o'clock. Proud to be your home of the Buckeyes, Browns, and all the NFL games you can handle. The Fan.
Shop new dollar deals at Meijer. $1 is all you need when you shop hundreds of participating items, like select bell peppers, Swanson broth, or Campbell's soup, and 1.25 liters of Coca-Cola or Pepsi products, all just $1 each. That's it. Pay just $1 on select items with Meijer dollar deals for a limited time. Limit 10 per item. Exclusions apply. See all the deals in store or in the Meijer app.
Hey, Buckeye fans. As the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics, Roosters is kicking off an incredible giveaway you won't want to miss. This football season, we're giving away 12 ultimate Buckeye experiences. 3 drawings, 12 winners with prizes including tickets, sideline passes, and 2 trips to a Buckeye postseason game. Go to roosterswings.com to register and see all the details. 3 drawings, 12 amazing prizes. Register today and every day. Roosters, a fun, casual joint.
Hi, it's Alex Johnson from the Diamond Cellar. Growing up in the family business, I've seen firsthand the joy and love that comes with finding the perfect engagement ring. For over 77 years, our family's been dedicated to providing the best quality, unmatched selection, and the guaranteed best price. From timeless classics to custom designs, we have the perfect ring for every love story. Let our family help you celebrate the moments that mean the most. Visit Diamond Cellar today on Salmo Road or at Easton Town Center.
I'm a firm believer that everything I was taught by my grandfather is exactly how I run this business. We still do everything old school. It's done by hand. Somebody touches the window at all points, and that's not something you see very often. It's going to make better quality window. We do things the way I was taught to do them.
Visit Rosati Windows and save 35% on all windows.
If you're obsessed with fantasy sports and gambling things, we have the slightly above average radio show for you. On the Money with Dave Biddle and Scotty Vegas.
Presented by the Sportsbook at Hollywood Casino Columbus.
Sunday morning at 9 on The Fan.
Ohio, ready for some quick mental health facts? Let's go. Nearly 2 million Ohioans live with a mental health condition. In the U.S., more than 50% of people will be diagnosed with a mental illness in their lifetime. Depression is a leading cause of disability worldwide. So why are some of us still stigmatizing people living with a mental health condition when we know all of this? Let's listen to the facts and beat the stigma. Ohio, challenge what you know about mental health at beatthestigma.org.
Wake up. Breakfast. And Nature Made vitamins. Whatever your morning sounds like, Nature Made fits right in. Whether you're looking for vitamin C or a multivitamin to get key nutrients, we've got you covered. Now that's a good morning. We take care of you so you can take on your day. Start your day with Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist recommended vitamin and supplement brand. Based on a survey of pharmacists who recommend branded vitamins and supplements.
Navigating mental health insurance benefits can be overwhelming, but you don't have to do it alone. The Mental Health Insurance Assistance Office is here to guide you. Our expert team will help you connect with your health insurance plan to understand available behavioral health benefits. Say goodbye to frustration and hello to control over your mental well-being. Call 855-438-6442 today.
Ready for the best car buying experience of your life? Visit KriegerFord.com today. Explore our amazing selection of new and pre-owned vehicles. Service and parts available when you need us. Come experience the Krieger commitment. The best cars, the best people, peace of mind. Visit KriegerFord.com now.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals with savings beyond low prices. Like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
It's Customer Appreciation Week with special deals like select Kroger brand pasta sauce or pasta for only 99 cents each with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. When it comes to being a Newman Roofing customer, you can trust they're always going to put your needs first. They're going to give you the white glove treatment so you feel confident you're making the best decision. So don't just get a roof, get a Newman roof. Give them a call at 614-NEW-ROOF, newmanroofing.com.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Drink recommendations, movie reviews, sports discussion, and whatever the hell Reeser does. This is Bishop and Friends.
Yeah, the realities of this start to hit home when you start to actually play it out. And loyal, great listener, Wolfman Matt, with this. Just imagine a team like the Fighting Birds Illini backing into the Big Ten championship game and somehow winning. They would get a top 4 seed also. Yeah, you're right. That's also something that is harder to imagine. What isn't hard to imagine is that happening in the ACC or Big 12. Mm-hmm. That could happen this year. You could absolutely see a situation. We're lucky that in doing this on September 26th, Miami's ranked 7th and Utah's ranked 10th. But those teams will lose this year. And when they lose, they will drop. And so this time when I played this exercise out, only Michigan of the top 12 teams in the country was left out. Once Utah and Miami, if those two teams ever fall out, or if the representation from the ACC or the Big 12 falls out, then all of a sudden you'd lose not only Michigan and Missouri, but potentially Penn State as well, if that is the way that would look. You'd lose the teams ranked 12th, 11th, and 10th in that scenario.
We should check on this quarterly, like every 3 Ohio State games, do this exercise.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah, how many teams get knocked out, because that's where we're at. Right now, some have played 4. Buckeyes have only played 3. But I think if we stick to the Buckeyes schedule and look at it each time, yeah, I like that idea, because that really will illustrate it both to us and to the listeners of, like, this isn't going to look as simple as you think. It's not even
It's not going to be clean.
No, it's not even as simple, because it's not even based on tiebreakers. It is literally based on the rankings that the CFP puts out, and then that ranking has to be filtered through the rules of the bracket.
Here's what's crazy. Right now, they are acting as if the 4 power conferences are all the same. It's remarkable to me that the Big 12 got into this. Truly. At least the ACC. And the bottom of the ACC is kind of a mess. But at least Miami, Clemson, Florida State have won national titles in the last 25 years.
Besides UCF, who was the last Big 12 team to win the national
legitimate
championship.
national championship out of the Big 12.
I was just joking, but I mean, yeah, I'm gonna look it up.
Oh, wait. I mean, I can probably come up with it off the top of my head. It's probably, could it be Colorado in 1990?
Yeah.
Wow.
So BYU won a national title in the early 80s.
Colorado the last
Colorado
2.
in 90. Nope. Nothing.
There's just been Oklahoma and Texas for them as far as winning since then.
So it's Colorado. It's Colorado in 1990. That was the last time that a Big 12 team has won a national title. And somehow they're treated the same as the SEC and the Big 10. It's nonsense. It's utter nonsense.
And half of their league are teams that were just in the group of 5 level 2 years ago.
Nonsense that they're somehow are given the same accreditation as the SEC and the Big 12. You said something else that I wanted to drill down on a little bit so folks understand this part of it. They are going to do this college football playoff. They're going to reveal these teams as a television show, and they're going to do a ranking. I assume, and I think we are all assuming, I don't know that any of this is in cement yet, that they're going to rank teams 1 through 25 or 1 through 20. I don't know what they're going to do. They shouldn't do that. They should
just do the bracket every week.
If they're smart, they'll do exactly that. They will say, this is what the bracket would look like if we did it right now. They would do that, and they should not ever show teams ranked beyond the ones in the bracket. Because otherwise, the reverse engineering of this stuff, we talk about Pepe Sylvia all the time with the red yarn, that's what this is going to look like when you have to reverse engineer a bracket to make it make sense.
No, and like the stickiest thing, too, is like, what are they going to do with the group of 5? Are they going to artificially inflate one team so that they're at least close to 12? Does Boise State, who really they'd probably have at 22, maybe, something like that, going to be at 14? Just so it doesn't seem that crazy that they're displacing number 12, Michigan, for instance.
You have to, to that point, though, let's just use Boise State because they'd be the team that would get in right now. They are 2-1 on the season. Their only loss is a close loss to Oregon. They play Washington State this weekend. You mentioned this yesterday. Is Washington State, how are they viewed? As an independent?
Yeah, basically an independent.
Not a group of 5?
No, so they can't get. They obviously don't have a power for any sort of distinction, and then they can't get the group of 5 12 seed thing. They have to get in at large. So they're in the same boat as a Notre Dame, an independent, essentially.
Okay.
They can name themselves Pac-12 champions, but it's not recognized by the CFP. With team members.
Boise State plays Washington State this week. In terms of teams who could give them a little bit of a fight, they're at UNLV on the 25th of October, and then they close with Oregon State. So what's the threshold of losses that they could take on and still be ranked? I mean, traditionally, group of 5 teams either have to be undefeated or 1 loss to be ranked. You don't see 2-loss unranked, 2-loss ranked group of 5 teams.
Not when we've started where we have this year, where there was no teams at the beginning of the year from the group of 5 ranked, and now it's Boise State at 25. If somebody got to 6-0 and was at 8, then they could maybe suffer 2 losses and stay in the rankings. But nobody respected any of the group of 5 teams going into the season, so they have no margin for error to stay ranked.
No, they do not. So there's your exercise. So here's what they're going to bank on. I'll tell you what they're rooting for. They're rooting for Miami. They're rooting for Utah. You could root for Clemson. Those type of teams. You need those teams. You need Oklahoma State or BYU. You need those teams to be 1 loss or undefeated or close so that you don't have such an upsetting of the apple cart. Because in the scenario that we just played out, it's actually relatively clean right now. What'll it look like at the end of October when we revisit this? So that'll be the challenge, is what does this look like at the end of October? How much of an upsetting will it be then? And yeah, take note. You're talking that right now of a 12-team playoff. If it were right now, you're talking 6 SEC teams. You're talking 3 Big Ten teams. You're talking the ACC champ, the Big 12 champ, and the group of 5. That's the makeup if it started right now. 6 SEC teams in the playoff. So that's something to prepare for as well. Because these rankings do matter where they are at the beginning of the year, because it sets the table in the way that you view them. All right, we have time for a Pop-Up Chops movie review. Go ahead, buddy.
I do want to preface with a listener discretion advised, because this is a hard R horror movie, so I've cleaned up my language, but still, it might come off graphic to some younger listeners. This one, it will be a little bit different than some of my other Chops movie reviews, because I want to stress that The Substance is a good movie, but I would not recommend it to anyone, I don't think. It's a dark comedy satire, so that helps with the body horror aspects, though it doesn't do enough to make this movie, in my opinion, palatable for general audiences. With a star like Demi Moore, it might attract some interested viewers, but some might get more than they bargained for. I know I did. It's about an aging actress who learns of a miracle substance that allows her to split into a younger version of herself. But as always, there's consequences that she doesn't foresee. This movie, it's visceral, gross, gory, stomach-churning, hard to look at, and hard to look away. It might venture into the, I'm glad I watched that, but I'm never watching it again territory, too. Think Requiem for a Dream, but with more dry humor and satirical elements. My favorite aspect was the detail. The Substance is clearly conceived by French director Coralie Farja with an explicit creative direction, and you can see it in the meticulous nature of the props and sets. By my estimation, nothing appears on screen in this movie by accident. I also like the references to The Shining for the scary movie fan in me. The Substance movie won't be for everyone, but it will be nominated for makeup effects at the Oscars. That one's not a prediction, it's a lock. Demi Moore gives maybe her best performance of her career. Margaret Qualley sparkles as the younger version of the star that really gets the point across. And Dennis Quaid is the slimiest TV executive ever put to film. Be prepared to cover your mouth while your jaw hangs open. I give The Substance an A-.
Oh my gosh, there you go. Hey Reese, did you start the McMahon doc on Netflix? Are you into that?
I have not. That's something that I'm going to try to get to today. I'm going to try to get to it, but it is at the forefront. Like I've seen a lot about it, and I'm excited to see what Netflix does. While also they got Costas on this thing.
So Bill Simmons produced it.
McMahon's interviewed.
He is, but there's some. I can't wait to watch it. I'm really intrigued by it. I know that the WWE tried buying it because they own everything. They own the whole catalog. They get to tell their own story, whatever they want. So this is kind of the first time they didn't. One of the things that I think that happened is some of the later allegations against McMahon didn't come to light at the time they did the interviews.
Right.
So that's kind of the tricky part of it. But Matt pointing out that it's a must-watch. He says what a doc should be and not a sports-washing PR film. I look forward to it. I think of James, and I think of the seedy underbelly of that. And man, if they tell the real truth on it, or much of the real truth, you're in for something.
Because it strikes for once for a Netflix documentary, you're going to hear the main character's version of events, and then you're going to let other people kind of respond to that. Because the other times when they've done stuff, it just be like the main character's version, and you don't hear any pushback from other people. In this one, you get McMahon on obviously his truth, and I do think a lot of the stuff he believes because he's just been in his reality for 50 years now. And then you hear guys, like they had Jesse the Body Ventura. Like you had Bob Costas interviewed about like the unionization attempt that they had. But yeah, it looks wild. So I'm really excited.
I'm looking forward to it as well. We'll hit a little thing or not a thing up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
If you consider yourself a Buckeye fan, you've come to the right place. This is your heritage sports talker and home of Ohio State Athletics, The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
With fall savings at the Home Depot, you can get up to $1,600 off select appliances from top brands like Samsung, ranked #1 in customer satisfaction. Wash and dry in one cycle with the Samsung Ultra Capacity All-in-One Washer-Dryer Combo from the Home Depot. And get laundry day done faster, running a super speed load in just 98 minutes. Right now, shop fall savings for up to $1,600 off select appliances at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Pricing about September 26th through October 16th. U.S. only. See store online for details. Visit jdpower.com/awards for more details.
Good morning, Doctor.
Doctor?
Hi, Doctor. Doctor?
Dr. Jackson's practice is growing.
What do you mean we're still short-staffed?
He needs a good patient doctor.
How do we not have enough doctors to doctor all these patients?
And he doesn't have the patience to sift through hundreds of resumes.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Looking for your next Subaru? At Byers Airport Subaru, we give you options from start to finish. Browse and shop entirely online from the comfort of your home at ColumbusSubaru.com or stop by and visit one of our friendly brand specialists just by the airport.
Right now, you can get a new 2025 Subaru Outback for 2.9% for up to 72 months.
Whether you prefer to click or come in, we've got you covered. Your journey starts at Byers Airport Subaru. Come see why it's better to buy at Byers.
Subject to credit approval. Financing offer term up to 72 months on 2025 Subaru Outback. Cannot be combined with any other incentive. See dealer for details. Offer ends 9/30/24. We are Ortho Alliance. Together, we deliver the most experienced orthopedic care near you and throughout Central Ohio. Together, we provide expert care when you need it with same-day and next-day appointments. We put our patients' care first, from physical therapy to the most challenging joint replacement surgeries. We are JIS Orthopedics, Ortho Neuro, Orthopedic Associates of Zanesville, Orthopedic Foot and Ankle Center, and Orthopedic Specialists in Sports Medicine. And we are better together. Visit orthoalliance.com or call 877-WE-ARE-OA.
Morning Juice.
Process is important. Process leads to outcomes. Execute and live in the right process consistently. You'll get the outcomes more often than not that you want.
Morning Juice.
Sponsored by Affinity Whole Health.
Weekday mornings at 6. The Fan.
No. First down.
Yes. Oh, what? Just cleared that drain last week.
Well, clearly that didn't work. Would you please just call the waterworks?
At the Waterworks, we mean clean. We'll get your drains good as new on the first down. And as for him, well, there's always the Buckeyes. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better results.
Your local Rite Aid might be closing, but don't worry. It's easy to transfer your prescriptions with GoodRx. First, check prices at GoodRx.com or on our app. Then show your coupon to the pharmacist. It's that simple. GoodRx can save you up to 80% on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, GoodRx is free and it works whether you have insurance or not. Download the app or visit GoodRx.com today. GoodRx is not insurance but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
Hey Columbus, Caden Curry here, Ohio State student athlete for Green & Sons, the premier Kubota dealership in Central Ohio. I've had to be versatile my whole football career. Of course, I'm a defensive end, but I've also played special teams and even played fullback. Whether I'm blocking or tackling, I've got to be ready for any job out there, which is why I love the versatility in Kubota's BXB and L Series tractors. There's no task too big or small with Kubota tractors from Green & Sons. Visit greenandsons.com today or stop by their stores in Mount Sterling and in Raymond, north of Marysville, and get yourself a Kubota tractor that works as hard as I do.
The time to save big is now. It's Ford Truck Month at your local Ford dealer, and the time to buy is now. Make way for great offers across an amazing lineup of Ford trucks, featuring the built Ford Tough F-150 and Super Duty. Check out the versatile Ford Maverick and the capable Ford Ranger. But you can't wait. These limited Truck Month deals won't last. Check it all out at buyfordnow.com. Then get over to your local Ford dealer today. Hurry in, as these deals won't last long.
Saturday is game day on The Fan.
Sponsored by Riker Ford.
Every game, every season, your home of the Buckeyes. The Fan. The final season of Yellowstone might just be Bo's dad live on YouTube. What's the difference anyway? This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, time for a little thing or not a thing on a Thursday edition. Hit it, fellas.
Thing or not a thing?
Sponsored by Apex Plumbing Pros.
Get ready, because it's getting messier out west. This from ESPN. The Pac-12 filed a lawsuit in federal court Tuesday challenging the legality of a poaching penalty included in a football scheduling agreement it signed with the Mountain West Conference in December, so that wasn't that long ago. With Oregon State and Washington State scrambling late last year to fill their 2024 schedules in the wake of the Pac-12's collapse, they came to terms with the Mountain West on a one-year agreement that added 6 Mountain West Conference opponents to each remaining Pac-12 school's schedule this season. As part of the agreement, the Mountain West included language that requires the Pac-12 to pay a fee of $10 million if a school left the MWC for the Pac-12, with escalators of $500,000 for each additional school. The suit says, quote, the action challenges an anti-competitive and unlawful poaching penalty that the Mountain West Conference imposed on the Pac-12 to inhibit competition for member schools in collegiate athletics. And quote, well, no, it continues. The poaching penalty saddles the Pac-12 with exorbitant and punitive monetary fees for engaging in competition by accepting Mountain West Conference member schools into the Pac-12. The MWC imposed this poaching penalty at a time when the Pac-12 was desperate to schedule football games for its 2 remaining members and had little leverage to reject this naked restraint on competition. Thing or not a thing?
This is what I think on this. I think that first of all, the Pac-12 isn't the Pac-12. It's 2 schools. So stop. You're not a conference. You're 2 schools. So let's as that as a jumping off point. What I don't understand is how boneheaded the Pac-12 leadership has been there's a 30 for 30 on it, honest to God, of the crippling and the crumbling of that conference, that historical conference, which would be really viable if it was still a conference. Certainly better than the Big 12 and probably better than the ACC as well. So that is out there. The other thing that is out there is, why wouldn't smart people that are running the Mountain West and the people representing the 2 remaining Pac-12 schools just say, isn't it better for all of us if we just combine forces and we just make the Mountain West the Pac-12? Isn't that the way to do it? Just make it the Pac whatever, the Pacific whatever the number is, add those 2 teams in, and then what you do is you make one of them the Mountain and one of them the Pacific, and away you go. Now you got a league. Right now you don't. That league is in the vicinity of what the Big 12 is from a football perspective. It's just not that far off. Why would they not do that? Where are the adults in the room, man?
Keep in mind, now both leagues only have 7 members. So they're both
idiots.
Are
they could have been the Pac-14. They could have been the Pac-14, have a mountain division and a Pacific division, and now you got a league.
Yeah, I don't see this becoming a thing. To your question, why are the adults? I don't think there are adults in the room. I think there's a bunch of petulant children, because I think that's, there was petulant children that ran the Pac-12 into the ground. And now I think you have these 2 schools, and the administration there is just trying to cling on to whatever they think the Pac-12 is, that nobody else, it's what their reality of what the Pac-12 does not align with anybody else in the country. Really. And so I think this is just more of that. We're like, well, we can't be asked to do this. We're the Pac-12. You're not. You're just 2 schools, and you're trying really hard to cling to something that nobody really cares about. Because if you called yourself the Mountain West tomorrow, nobody would bat an eyelash or 2 eyelashes.
No.
I don't. And the weird thing is, I feel like they wrote their ruling in the lawsuit. They wrote the lawsuit and brought it to court, and they said, well, we didn't have any leverage, and we signed it with this deal in there, and now it's time to pay it. And it's yeah, you made the agreement. This wasn't some Joe Schmo who was taken advantage of by some big corporation. This is Stanford and Cal, or not Stanford and Cal, Washington State and Oregon State. They know what they're doing. These are leadership. These are people who are in these big rooms. You signed the contract. Too bad. That's what's in the contract.
Crazy.
The rejoin talking about Bo's dad just being the main character for the final season of Yellowstone live on YouTube had me thinking about a recent comments made by Kevin Costner. In fact, this week he told E.T. about Yellowstone. It's been a wonderful part of my life. And who knows, some things have a way of circling back. I haven't seen the dust trail coming towards me, but I've always been open to what I've started. 5 seasons was a lot for us to do, and I think that story is not finished. Obviously, it can go on. I have children. We can make that story about them, which seems pretty vague, but with statements made recently, I think this is from representatives of Taylor Sheridan saying negotiations are underway with Costner's people about including Governor John Dutton in the 6th and final season of the show. Again, still a long way from it being a thing, but thing or not a thing.
Of course this is a thing. It's this was the biggest. We talk about ratings all the time. This was a show on Paramount Network that would get 12 to 15 million people to watch week to week. The reason it's happening is because he did this absurd trilogy called, what is it called?
Horizon, an American Saga.
This nonsense, which fell flat on its face and bombed, and he leveraged his own wealth to make it. The first one bombed. The second one didn't even get a release. The first one's already on HBO. They're trying to promote it.
The second one is made, though.
It's all made.
Yeah.
He's did 4 of them or whatever, but like no one was interested in any of it. The second one didn't even go in the theaters. It was supposed to go in the theaters in August. Guess who needs a payday? Kevin Costner. So that's what it's about. That's why they came back to the table. And yeah, I do expect he'll end up in the final season.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. It is a thing because this is why. It's not because Kevin Costner had a change of heart or anything. It's because this other venture with Western cowboy stuff isn't working for him, and he's going to go back to his cash cow because Kevin Costner likes money. I mean, he's been acting for 40 years.
He needs it too. All the thing I read on Horizon is he used his own wealth.
Oh, he used that for the budget?
He used his money to pay for it because nobody in Hollywood was going to greenlight a period Western that's 12 hours long.
Chapter 1's worldwide gross is $34 million, and it says the budget was $100 million. And that might be for the first 2. I'm looking at the Wikipedia page here. Either way, it's not making it up. Plus, that doesn't even factor in the marketing budget, which this movie was being advertised to us. We saw it. Nobody saw the whole movie, but people saw the trailers. This from Pick 6 Previews. This is the best yards per play margin. Buckeyes lead the nation at plus 5.6 yards. Ole Miss plus 5.4. Miami 4.9. 4.2 for Tennessee and Penn State. 4.1 for Indiana and Louisville. 4 for Alabama. 3.4 for Auburn and Texas and Georgia. But it's the worst in the Power 4 that I think is interesting. Negative 1.1 for NC State, negative 0.9 for Wisconsin, negative 0.9 for Florida State, negative 0.4 for Stanford and UCLA. Thing or not a thing?
The biggest one on here is Wisconsin because it's year 2 for Fickle, and to have those numbers is pretty pathetic. We should be the biggest. We've played nobody, so that's how it should be. But it's alarming that Luke in year 1 plus is struggling the way that they have, especially offensively.
I mean, the best is not a thing, but the worst, like NC State.
They're supposed to be in the playoff.
Wisconsin, Florida State's alarming. Stanford, I guess, because they just beat Kyle McCord and Syracuse, UCLA. So the Big Ten's represented there.
Yeah.
Go Conference.
Final hour coming up next. We start with Beat the House. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
If the sound of another man slammed against plexiglass turns you on, you've come to the right place. Proud to be your home for Jackets hockey. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Men, here are a few statistics about erectile dysfunction. First, half of men over age 50 have it, with even more of us affected as we get into our 60s and beyond. ED can also impact younger men, even in their 30s, which makes it one of the most pervasive conditions in medicine. This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health, and statistics are one thing, but it's the emotional toll on relationships and the impact on a man's confidence and self-esteem that are the true tragedies of erectile dysfunction. This is why you need to get treated for your ED. But where you get treated is just as important as getting treated, because who you trust for your health care is critical. At Tri-State Men's Health, men's sexual health is our focus. Our providers are experts in treating ED, and we offer the complete range of treatment options with protocols that are effective in well over 90% of cases, which means you can get your sex life back. So call us. Your first visit is just $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. If you need a new roof but you're not sure you can afford it, no problem. Right now, Able Roof is offering no payments, no interest until 2026 for qualified buyers. Yep, that's the same Able Roof that's been voted the #1 roofing company in Columbus by Consumer Choice Awards 22 years in a row. Want more? Able Roof will give you up to $1,000 off a new roof, siding, or windows. This is a limited time offer, so call Able Roof today.
Call Able for the proof. 444 Roof.
Attention Ohio pizza restaurant owners. Tired of glitchy point-of-sale systems slowing you down? Meet Hunger Rush, Ohio's favorite pizza POS. With reliable hardware, an easy-to-use system, and 24/7 customer support, Hunger Rush speeds up your operations and boosts repeat orders by up to 10%. This is the restaurant point-of-sale built for pizza. Easily manage your drivers, easily take orders online, easily train your staff in minutes, and easily make modifications. Need to talk to a real person? That's easy too. Top Ohio pizzerias are winning with Hunger Rush. Solutions to help you streamline service, optimize workflows, and maximize profits. Join the thousands of successful restaurants transforming their operations with Hunger Rush for $0 down and $0 a month. Tools for menu management, marketing, customer engagement, and increased upsells, all in one simple platform. That's Hunger Rush, Ohio's favorite pizza POS. Schedule your free no-obligation demo at ohiopos.com. ohiopos.com. ohiopos.com.
Warning, the following ZipRecruiter radio spot you are about to hear is going to be filled with F words. When you're hiring, we at ZipRecruiter know you can feel frustrated, forlorn even, like your efforts are futile, and you can spend a fortune trying to find fabulous people, only to get flooded with candidates who are just fine. Fortunately, ZipRecruiter figured out how to fix all of that. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, you can forget your frustrations because we find the right people for your roles fast, which is our absolute favorite F word. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
Fantastic.
So, whether you need to hire 4, 40, or 400 people, get ready to meet first-rate talent. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. Don't forget, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. Finally, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. Week 4 in the NFL kicks off tonight with the Giants hosting the Cowboys at 8:15. You'll hear Thursday Night Football on the Fan following the Inside Edge. This Sunday at 1, the Bengals are in Carolina versus Andy Dalton and the Panthers. Cincinnati's still looking for its first win on the season. The 1-2 Browns are in Las Vegas to battle the Raiders Sunday at 4:05. In college football, number 3 Ohio State's at Michigan State on Saturday night. Kickoff from East Lansing is 7:30. After missing the Marshall game last week with an undisclosed injury, defensive tackle Tyleek Williams practiced on Wednesday, but is still day-to-day. Hear more on Ohio State today at noon on The Ryan Day Show. Buckeyes are 23.5-point favorites against the Spartans. OSU returns to the Shoe next Saturday, hosting Iowa at 3:30. This update sponsored by The Waterworks. Trust the pros at The Waterworks for all your plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling needs. Visit thewaterworks.com today to get started. Breaking sports news when it happens on The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Distilled sports discussion served in light beer quantities. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, final hour here on a Thursday edition of the program. It is at this time on a Thursday that we attempt to beat the house.
Beat the house.
Well, you guys didn't exactly beat the house in week 3 of the NFL season. Bo, you went from 500 overall to 8 games behind because you were 8 games behind. 4-12 this week.
Suck.
20-28 overall. Reeser, you had a bit more of a cushion to deal with, and only 2 games below 500 for the week. 7-9, 29-19 overall, but not the hot streak that we started with last year.
I'll tell you what else. So this is the worst start I've ever had doing NFL picks. I don't think the people in the desert know what the hell's going on. I had that stat earlier in the week where there have been 17 instances of teams favored by 6 or more. Teams' records in those, the teams favored, are 2-15. Okay? 2-15 against the spread. There are 9 outright winners of Super Dogs, 6 or more. Wild stuff in the league right now. So I don't know that anyone's doing it well, other than Reese.
First one up tonight on Amazon Prime. This is a fun one. Cowboys at Giants. Dallas -6 on the road.
Well, I'm just gonna. What did I just say? 6 or more, right?
Yeah.
2-15. I just saw the Giants firsthand with my own eyes in person. They're flawed. They're not great, but neither is Dallas. I think Dallas wins the game, but I think it'll be within the 6-point margin. Dallas always beats the Giants, so I think they'll beat them again, but I think it'll be within that 6-point margin, so I'll take the Giants, and I'll throw the 6. I'll take the 6, rather.
Me doing well should tell you and everyone out there all you need to know about NFL games against the spread through 3 weeks of the season.
You're not doing better. It's just more random this year.
You're flipping a coin, much like I might be doing sometimes, picking these maybe in the segment that precedes this one. I'm also going to go with the Giants tonight, plus the 6.
On to Sunday, the 1 p.m. slate. We'll start with here. Saints at Falcons, Atlanta -2.5.
Well, Chick-fil-A's closed on Sunday, so give me the Saints plus the 2.5.
Yeah, Atlanta's 2 losses are tricky. They lose to Pittsburgh in the opener, and then they lost at home to Kansas City, where if they get a call on what is clearly a pass interference, they probably win the game. I'm starting to think that Atlanta might just be okay, and New Orleans was maybe a little bit of false hope. I'll take the Falcons, and I'll throw the 2.5.
Up next, Bears -3 hosting the Rams.
Come on. What are we even doing here, man? Really? The Bears are 3-point favorites. The Bears.
It's a home game, and the Rams are traveling west. Or east.
I don't know. They did get their offense going a little bit in the game on Sunday. Caleb threw for 360. They still lost to Indy at home. The Rams are just so beaten up. Stafford is such a pro. Can they go on the road and get a win? It's Stafford versus Caleb. Give me the veteran. I'll take the Rams, and I'll enjoy those 3 points.
I'm going to go with the Bears, and only because I think the injuries for Los Angeles have to catch up sometime.
They're extraordinary.
Maybe this is that sometime.
Battle for the best team in the NFC. Vikings at Packers. Green Bay -2.5.
I like the Vikings here. I like them to win.
I'm going to say this on the record. If Jordan Love plays in this game, and this line leads me to believe that they believe Jordan Love is playing in this game, okay? So if Jordan Love playing in this game, I got Green Bay, okay? Actually, you know what? Blanket. The only thing I've gotten right for 3 weeks is Green Bay. I'm taking the Packers no matter what. Packers, and I'll throw the 2.5.
First road favorite of the week. Well, no, Dallas was a road favorite. First Sunday road favorite. Steelers -1.5 at the Colts.
Well, this is another one of those ones, like how long can they keep doing this? At least for one more week, because I am not trusting Anthony Richardson against that Steelers defense. I think it's going to be a problem. He throws at least 2 balls every week directly to the opposition. I think you'll get more of that. I like Pittsburgh winning this game. All I have to do is give up a 1.5. I'm fine with it. Give me Pittsburgh.
Samesies. I bet against the Steelers last week. I'm not going to make that same mistake in consecutive weeks. I may make it next week, but I will not this week. Yeah, give me the Steelers in this.
Justin Fields doesn't always have his best games in Lucas Oil, though. Remember when Trey Sermon had to take over against Northwestern? I don't know if that means...
He also didn't have TJ Watt.
Sure. There are so many stats that people love to throw out, and it's just like, does it mean anything? Like, we talked about the Josh Allen Monday night stat. Like, who cares?
I don't think it means anything.
Broncos at Jets, New York -7.5.
I like New York to win here, but I just think the 7.5 is too big. I get a touchdown, so I'm going to take it. Denver +7.5.
7.5. I mean, I guess I'm going to go with the rule. At some point, it's got to break. I don't think Denver is particularly good. They went to Tampa Bay and won. Maybe they're smelling themselves a little bit. It's just maybe a little too much, and maybe you get a little bit of a backdoor cover. So I'll take the Broncos to cover as well.
Road favorite, Eagles -2 at the Tampa Baker Buccaneers.
Some of these are so difficult to pick. Well, they are anyway. But like for Philly, who's playing? Like, is A.J. Brown playing? Is Devonta Smith playing? Who are they going to trot out there? Here's what I do know. I think that Philly is actually a decent operation. I think Tampa Bay is a little bit of a paper tiger. So I'll take Philly going to Tampa Bay and winning by a field goal.
I'm going to go with the Buccaneers here.
Bengals are road favorites, playing possibly the worst team in the NFL. Cincinnati -3.5 at the Carolina Panthers.
It just feels like the Bengals have to get this one. And I wish it was a 2.5 because I'd feel more comfortable, because it does feel like this would come down. And I don't know what to make of Andy Dalton throwing for, 300-plus yards last week.
He's the only player in the NFL to throw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns in a game. Did you have that?
Really?
No. Like, I didn't. At the beginning of the season, you could ask me, who's Andy Dalton play for? And I'd be like, I don't think he's in the league anymore.
Is he in the league?
Was that for the week or for the season?
For the season.
Passing yards have been so bad. Andy Dalton's your leader.
300
your single game
yards
leader.
and 3 touchdowns, Andy Dalton.
So I'm going to take the Bengals and the 3.5, but I don't feel great about it.
Yeah, same. They're not going to go to 0-4. Carolina's not any good. Let's go, Bengals. Handle your business.
Finishing up the 1 o'clock window, the Houston Texans and C.J. Stroud are 6.5-point favorites at home hosting the Jaguars.
All right, I think both of you're Houston, and I do think Houston's solid, and they have not covered all year. They're 0-3 against the number all year long. So to follow the trends, you would say take Jacksonville and take the points, but I think Jacksonville is imploding, and so because of that. And I'm not crazy about it. I wish it was a little less, but I'll throw the points with Houston. I think Houston bounces back in a big way.
Yeah, when I initially made these picks, I did pick the Jaguars plus the 6.5 because I didn't feel great about it. But because last week I was like, I'm not betting against C.J. Stroud, and it came back to bite me. I guess I'll revert to slightly more Slightly chesty Reeser last week. It said, I'm not betting against C.J. Stroud here. So give me the Texans minus the 6.5. I feel bad about that pick. No. All right, Texans minus 6.5.
What you got? You sticking?
Yeah, I'll stick with it.
All right, stick.
A live flip as we flip into the 4:05 window. Commanders at Cardinals, Arizona -3. I read the next pick. It's locked in, Reese.
Yeah, no, I'm good with it. It is set onto the radio. It is set in stone.
James used to love to do that. Send us a text on Friday night.
Oh,
or something.
look,
Actually,
flipping this.
I'm changing it to this one.
It isn't that deep for me, but I now kind of regret picking the Texans minus the 6.5. But however, the 4:05 slate is what we're on to next. Give me the Commanders +3 here.
The Commies have scored in their last 2 games on every offensive possession.
No punts.
No, if you're waiting like every offensive possession. No. Every offensive possession when they did not take a kneel down, they've scored. I like the Commies as well.
Up next, the Patriots at the 49ers. San Fran -10. Biggest line of the week.
San Fran is absolutely battered and beaten and all of those things. But New England is going across the country. This line is huge. Like anyone would say, it's too much. Give me the points. I get it. I understand why people would do that. San Francisco had to learn a lesson last week against the Chargers, and they're at 14-0 and blew it. This one to me screams 21-10. So I'll take the Niners and I'll throw the 10.
10's too big for a San Francisco team that I have no idea who's going to be playing. It's hard for me to trust because it was Kyle Shanahan who was asked, did you see a scenario where Christian McCaffrey plays this season? And I'm paraphrasing, and he says, I don't know.
They don't know.
Oh.
Mason's good, though.
Yeah, no, they've got enough talent. I just don't think they cover the 10. So give me the Patriots plus the 10 here.
Maybe you guys can send your NFL picks over to Germany, and they can spin them for you, and they get better.
That'd be helpful.
Chiefs road favorite -7.5 at the Chargers.
7.5 feels too big. I think the Chiefs win here, and I get a touchdown. So give me the Chargers plus the 7.5. And because I'm contractually obligated,
go Chargers, go.
Herbert's not 100% going to play for sure yet. That's
all right. So this is the caveat to that, and this one I am going to do. If no Herbert, Kansas City. With Herbert, even hobbled, Chargers. So if Herbert plays in the game,
go Chargers, go.
If he doesn't, Chiefs Kingdom. And no one would bet this without knowing that.
Browns are playing at 4:25. Cleveland heading to Vegas. Raiders -2.
Where's your maniacal laughter?
Maniacal laughter.
As people know, I do things associated with the Cleveland football Browns. So this is for my own sake. Go beat the damn Raiders. I do not want to be dealing with next week with a loss. Give me the Browns to win in Vegas.
I don't know, poetic's the right word, that like Las Vegas is also dealing with stuff. You got Antonio Pierce saying guys went into business for themselves.
Yep.
So you've got 2 teams with a lot of drama in a game they need to have, or else that's it. I already said the Browns are cooked, so I've got a bet like that as well. Give me the Raiders here.
Real quick, before we get to Sunday Night Football, we will pick these on Monday, but you got a doubleheader on Monday night again. Well, simultaneous football games. Titans at the Dolphins. Miami currently a 1-point favorite. Seahawks at the Lions. Detroit currently a 3.5-point favorite. But finishing up our picks today, Sunday night, you've got the Bills at Ravens. Baltimore -2.5.
Did y'all see Buffalo last Monday or this past Monday?
Yep.
Gosh. I think the Ravens keep it close, but give me Buffalo here.
Yeah, it just feels like one of those ones where the Ravens get right to me, and it feels like Buffalo's smelling itself a little bit. So I'm going to go Baltimore here. I don't love it, obviously. I don't love any of the things that I've just done, but I'm going to go with Baltimore here to win by a field goal over Buffalo at home. All right, coming up next. Speaking of the Browns, just a stupefying press conference from Deshaun Watson yesterday. We will get into that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We're known for 3 things: games, conversation, and Common Man yelling about things only he cares about. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Welcome to Nada Yada Island. This season on Nada Yada Island.
You were charging your phone? I waited hours for you.
That's how long it takes.
Join Metro and get a free Motorola Edge that'll charge for the day in 15 minutes. At Metro, there's no activation fees. Only at Metro by T-Mobile. Bring your number ID and sign up for Metro Flex Plus plan. Offer not available if at T-Mobile or have been with Metro in the past 180 days. Requires 68-watt charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary. Ready to be the change and have a positive impact on your community? Consider joining the Columbus Division of Police. Starting pay is $70,000 plus, growing to 6 figures after 4 years of service. We offer paid vacations, paid holidays, and health insurance. Do you aspire to complete your degree? We offer 100% tuition reimbursement after you complete your first year of service. Contact the CPD recruiting unit at jobs@columbuspolice.org or apply online at columbus.gov/government/jobs. The City of Columbus is an equal opportunity employer.
With fall savings at the Home Depot, you can get up to $1,600 off select appliances from top brands like Samsung, ranked #1 in customer satisfaction. Wash and dry in one cycle with the Samsung Ultra Capacity All-in-One Washer-Dryer Combo from the Home Depot. And get laundry day done faster, running a super speed load in just 98 minutes. Right now, shop fall savings for up to $1,600 off select appliances at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Pricing about September 26th through October 16th. U.S. only. See store online for details. Visit jdpower.com/awards for more details.
Good morning, Doctor.
Doctor?
Hi, Doctor.
Doctor?
Dr. Jackson's practice is growing.
What do you mean we're still short-staffed?
He needs a good patient doctor.
How do we not have enough doctors to doctor all these patients?
And he doesn't have the patience to sift through hundreds of resumes.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Common Man and T-Bone are known for many things. And while great radio ain't one of them, shoving food down their gullets is their specialty. Join Man and Bone for Fat Boy Food Tip.
Live at 3 or on the podcast.
Your home for fat. The Fan.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. Terms and conditions apply.
We are Ortho Alliance. Together, we deliver the most experienced orthopedic care near you and throughout Central Ohio. Together, we provide expert care when you need it with same-day and next-day appointments. We put our patients' care first, from physical therapy to the most challenging joint replacement surgeries. We are JIS Orthopedics, Ortho Neuro, Orthopedic Associates of Zanesville, Orthopedic Foot and Ankle Center, and Orthopedic Specialists in Sports Medicine. And we are better together. Visit orthoalliance.com or call 877-WE-ARE-OA.
Trust. Not everyone deserves it. Not everyone should have it. It needs to be earned. Your trust. And when it comes to accurate information about Ohio's safe and secure elections, where should you turn? VoteOhio.gov. VoteOhio.gov is the source for providing you with the facts and real information about elections. So no matter where you are, what you do, or who you choose, get the real facts about Ohio's elections. VoteOhio.gov, your trusted elections source. Sponsored by the Ohio Secretary of State, Frank LaRose.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is, fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Now your ideas don't have to wait. Dell Technologies and Intel are pushing what technology can do. Bring your ideas to life at Dell.com.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
78, cloudy with maybe a spot shower, but I think most of today is dry. Tomorrow, though, we have the remnants of Helene moving on in. Expect a ½ inch to an inch of much needed rainfall. It is windy. Winds could gust upwards of 35 miles per hour. Temperatures will be in the 70s. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
Our top men are working on everything except this show. This is Bishop and Friends.
Joshua Perry coming up in about 13 minutes from now. How many times have you guys flown Southwest Airlines?
5 times, maybe a fair amount of times. Enough that I know like the operating procedures. Yeah.
Maybe once. Like it hasn't been much.
Me either. I think less than 5. for sure. Maybe I can only think of 2 or 3 times when I fly.
They always
a lot
do
of people fly it
first
a lot.
come, first serve seating, which is a very different approach.
Well, yeah, and then you can check in early, and then you can get those boarding things. I think that's the way that it still is. So today, Southwest unveiled the first detail of its plans to begin assigning seats, update its boarding process, and add new premium extra legroom seats on its planes. You know what premium means? We can charge more. That's what it means.
And how much extra leg room? I mean, I'm sure they're bigger, but how much?
3 inches.
When I walk by the smaller planes, obviously there are the really nice planes that have real business class, first class, whatever it's called, with like the sleeping pods and stuff. But on those normal planes, it's just a slightly plushier seat, and it doesn't look like that much more. And I know because I've gotten accidentally upgraded before, right? Just somebody says, "Hey, the seat's open. You want to sit here?" My feet still hit the seat in front of me, or my knees still hit the seat in front of me.
The most profitable seats on a plane are the ones that they're going to add, which are those premium ones. So it's not first class. It's the first 6 rows behind first class. Those are the most profitable seats on a plane, are those. And usually there's 6 rows of them or whatever. But like where you pay a little more for the extra leg room, those are the ones that are most profitable.
Because the service isn't any different. It's the same, yeah.
No, and there's more of them, right? In fact, they'll oftentimes say that they lose money on first class because most of the time it's just people with points. Is typically what it is, because the price is so exorbitant. They make the price on first class so exorbitant that about the only people who end up there get people who get upgraded to that based on their on
big
status.
corporate accounts that are paying for it. In which case,
that would be status too, though. That would all be status too, because you fly so much that would be a status play as well. All right, do we have this? Do we have this thing? This was Deshaun Watson yesterday. He was asked by a reporter. So there's a video clip that went viral of the play in the fourth quarter. I don't know. I'm not sure if this was the last Browns possession or the second to last Browns possession. What they're trying to operate is a slant flat route. So they operated this on the play on the fourth down series where they scored. The slant was run by Jerry Jeudy, and they caught it down inside the 5, and then they ended up scoring. So that's the slant part of it. Then the flat is the other thing. So it's the exact same play. They ran it twice in the fourth quarter. The first time Deshaun Watson correctly visualized it, the slant was being pressed, and he threw the flat was being pressed, and he threw the slant over the top. So he has one read. He's reading the corner. If the corner is playing off, then he's throwing the slant on the outside receiver. If the corner is playing off the inside receiver, then you're going to run that rub and you're going to throw the flat for the first down. So this was on fourth down. Deshaun Watson was asked about it yesterday. Here's how it went.
Using that 4th and 1 play where it seemed like Jordan was open and you ran the ball to make the case that you're not seeing the field well this season. So my question to you is, are you seeing the field well, and maybe what are other people not seeing on that particular play?
Because other people are not in the film room, so that would not everyone know exactly what the read was. That was a decoy, so that's the difference. Everyone can pause the tape and say, hey, he should have thrown it here, every quarterback deal with that. So if you choose one play and that's the play out of the whole game that everyone is calling, then so be it. It is what it is, No one's in those film rooms. No one is making those decisions. So I go based off of what is Ken Dorsey and Kevin Stefanski is saying. And, on that decision, they made a good play. They got jammed up on the slant. That's what we did. The previous time when we scored a touchdown, I did the same as that read, and I hit Jerry. So, did I see it wrong then? So for me, it's just, like I said before, I go based off what Kevin and Ken is making those decisions.
No, you saw it right the first time. He had the correct read the first time. Here is the way that that he should have handled that back and forth. I blew it. I blew it. There is no scenario where an NFL team runs that concept, slant, flat concept, against that coverage, and the tight end who is open is a decoy. There's no scenario. None. So what he did, and the reason it gets to this point is because it's so contentious between the beat and him And all of it. It's been 2.5 years of it. It's been tough. I mean, this happened with Baker up there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Reese, you were up there at that time, and you remember that. I mean, this is normal. This is the way that it works with that media and that operation. The simple answer to it is, my bad, I blew it. It won't happen again. And if you do that, it's over. It's over. But when you say, it's like when a kid, I say it's like a lesson, you're going to do this, Chop, soon, when you once Mini Chops is big enough to be able to comprehend, which will be around 2.5. I tell the boys all the time, and so far they've been very good at it. I'm very proud of them of this. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to screw up. You're going to get in trouble. When that happens, own it. Come to me, come to your mom, own it. You'll be in far less trouble than if you try to cover it up. That compounds the mistake. And it takes something that was, man, I blew it, sucked. I'll be better next time, and turns it into, why are you lying?
And
what are you doing?
That's a really good lesson.
It's so easily disproven.
It's a really good lesson for a kid to learn, because if you grow up to be a quarterback, which is a leadership position, or if you're somebody who grows up and you are in some sort of executive position, people are looking to you for the answers. And so if you're Deshaun Watson or whoever is asked these kind of questions, it is always best to own up to it and say, my bad. Then you can maybe offer the explanation of why it happened and try to explain it like, this is why, and we're going to try to make sure that doesn't happen again. But the worst thing you can do is, when you are the leader and being asked these questions, is tell people that, like, no, what you're seeing is wrong. What we, the actual knowers of football, what we're seeing is right. And you guys just don't understand it. When all the reporters, all the fans, all the people who watch the game can look at it and go, you didn't see the wide open guy on a 4th and 1 play. Why are you focusing on the 4th and 1 play? Because you failed on a 4th and 1 play in the 4th down less than a touchdown. That's why we're focusing on it.
Yeah, it's really tough with the Cleveland Browns especially, because when you go back and watch tape, it can absolve one or two situations. You know, if the all-20 tells you something about a play here and there, but just the overall results have made it so that it's not something that can absolve you. Like, it just, the 1 and 2 is the record. Your QBR is the QBR. Like, to go back to a play and say, well, I read it right this time, but actually, no, I read it right this one too, because that's what Ken and Kevin called for. It just puts everybody in such a horrible situation. And this is part of the course for him, where there's no responsibility taken. It's the fault of others. I'm just, I'm doing what I'm asked to do. Mm-hmm. I just want to be done with this as a Browns fan.
So Ken Dorsey,
this ride.
To your point, Ken Dorsey was asked about it. He's available today, and he spoke about it 20 minutes ago. Quote, he was asked about that play. I don't want to get into discussions on reads and how we're supposed to do things, but it all comes down to execution. Deshaun has to trust his reads and trust his progressions. That's what happens. Where if all you do is say, I missed the read, I missed the throw, I'd bet anything he predetermined the route. He probably thought it looked like the previous coverage when they hit the slant. He predetermined he was going to throw it to the receiver on the slant versus reading what he was supposed to do. That's probably what happened. Had he just owned it, it's done. He didn't. And so now it becomes a story today. We're talking about it. If he owns it, we don't even talk about it today. It's done. That's the lesson here, kids. Joshua Perry up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
1, 2, 3. The Daily Coach Ryan Day Show is brought to you locally by Credit Union of Ohio and by Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse on The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
This is the Daily Show with Coach Ryan Day, brought to you by Safe Flat Auto Glass. Lathan Ransom, with the way he's played, and we saw it this past weekend all over the field, but is he a guy that not only his play on the field, but the way he handles things off the field, a big part of this team?
Yeah, Lathan has really grown into a great player, but also a great leader. In order to be a great leader, you have to be respected by your teammates. That's a huge check mark. But then you also have to be heard and felt, and he is. And I thought he played a good game. He graded out a champion. He made some really nice plays. Really great effort play on the forced fumble and just about kept it in bounds. He's trying to keep that ball in bounds, really heads up. But that's the way he practices. And, I asked everybody in the team meeting, did anyone surprise anybody that, he's poking the ball out the way he is and playing as hard as he is? Everyone says no, because that's the way you see on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Thursdays we take the pads off. But that's great for a bunch of our young players to recognize that, you you're not just going to turn it on Saturday. You have to practice that way during the game. And Lathan's done that in a lot of ways, and he's playing his best football.
Okay, we have another comment in just a moment. Hi, this is Paul Keels. This Buckeye season, don't let a broken windshield ruin your game plan. Safelite Auto Glass makes it easy to get your windshield fixed with their mobile glass shops all over Central Ohio. They can come to you anywhere, giving Buckeye fans more time for game time. OH? Man, I love that. Schedule at safelite.com. Safelite Auto Glass is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Safelite Repair, Safelite Replace.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End of friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you're planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Ron, we've been able to see Arvell Reese flash at times during these first 3 games of the season. Is that adding to depth, not only at the linebacker position, but just kind of explains how depth is important all over?
Yeah. Arvell, we need Arvell to play at a high level, and again, bigger challenges are coming. And I mean, every week you got to start from scratch. You got to take what you had last week, and put it aside. You want to save it because you may have to go back and refer to it, but you start fresh, and you have to build that week up of all the different things that the other team is trying to attack you with. And so at linebacker, you got to be on top of what's going on with the front and how the run games fit, how you're attacking protection, the blitzes and those type of things, but also the coverage and making sure you understand how the back end fits in with the front end. And every game he plays, he's getting better. But one thing for sure, when you see Arvell, you just see effort. You see him playing sideline to sideline, and we can work on that.
Okay, this is the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
What do football and finances have in common? The team you play with makes a big difference. Credit Union of Ohio is your financial team to help you save and spend like a winner. Whether you're looking to make a big purchase or find ways to build up your savings, you'll always work with a team player at Credit Union of Ohio. Navigate your next big money play easily through Credit Union of Ohio's website at cuofohio.org. That's cuofohio.org. NCUA insured, equal housing lender.
For more than 35 years, Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse has been known by Buckeye Nation as serving the best steaks in the city. Our thick-cut, aged steaks have been a staple in Columbus with 3 locations, in Upper Arlington, Dublin, and downtown. Hyde Park is proud to introduce our newly added wine room at the downtown Columbus location, where a new elegance in dining will surround you. And coupled with live entertainment every weekend, Hyde Park will be the perfect setting for any occasion or the perfect night out. Hyde Park is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
Check it out, the new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence and camera control for easy access. At Verizon, you can get it when you trade in any phone from one of their top brands.
Any?
Any.
Even if it's 4 years old?
Yeah.
Even if it's 4 years old and I drop it on the sidewalk?
Yep.
Even if it's 4 years old and I drop it on the sidewalk, then a scooter runs it over, so now it's not just old and cracked, but shattered?
With Verizon, the answer is always yes. New and existing customers can trade in any phone from one of our top brands in any condition for the new iPhone 16 Pro with unlimited Ultimate. Trade-in terms apply. See Verizon.com for details.
At the Home Depot, we know Saturdays are for college football. That's why we have everything you need to never miss a play. Like North America's #1 home fire safety brand, Kidda. Because on a day full of football sounds you love, like fight songs, roaring crowds, and your favorite commentators...
Like me, Kirk Herbstreit.
The last sound you want to hear is... Defend your game time with Kidda and the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Based on total household installations as of December 2023.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
We'll read your emails on the air, but we won't tell you where to send them. Hey, we're not doing all the work for you. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, time to head out on the Brad Heating Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Great friend of the program. Great dude. At one point, he used to say future governor of Ohio. I think he's going to be shooting for things much, much bigger than that. You see him every single Saturday on the Big Ten College Countdown on NBC and Peacock. He's a great Joshua Perry, and he joins us. Buddy, thank you so much for taking the time. It's the first time you and I have talked on the show since the birth of the little one. What is the one thing you wish someone would have told you about parenthood that they didn't?
Oh, man. I feel like I got a lot of really good advice, thankfully. Everybody talks about the sleep aspect, which he's a good sleeper, so we're fortunate there. It's just every day is a surprise. Like, there's new stuff every day, and to cherish all the moments. Like, he's 6 months now, and like the little coos and the little giggles. Like, I'm fortunate that we live in a smartphone world, because you can just pull out the camera and capture it all. But those are the moments that really do it for me.
What is the total number of videos shot to this point through 6 months of his life?
Okay, so my wife Maddie probably has like 100,000 videos. This is a really unfortunate thing. My camera is busted on my phone, so I am like hounding her to pull out her phone anytime he's doing something. She sends them all to me, but too many videos, absolutely.
My first, we had, when my first was born, I videoed, it was basically like the Truman Show. I basically videoed every single thing he did. And then with the other two, it got less and less and less. And they're like, Dad, why don't you have these videos of us? And I'm like, well, you don't understand. With the first one, like, you want to chronicle all of it. So Maddie's doing the right thing. That's a beautiful thing, my friend. We're about a month into this thing. Who's the best team in the country to you? Who's impressed you the most?
Man, it's a bit of a tough question. I think Texas has been really impressive. Even with Michigan's struggles, going on the road and beating them was an eye-opener. And then Quinn Ewers gets busted up, and they've got the most enviable quarterback situation in the country, because Arch Manning can step right in and do a great job. I'm really high on them. Another team from the SEC that I really like, Tennessee has done a fantastic job. I think they'll be in the mix. But Ole Miss is a team I'm looking at right now. They're top 10 in both scoring offense and scoring defense. And the problem for Ole Miss for a long time is the fact that they couldn't get enough stops. Their offense has always been pretty good. Defensively, they're playing well right now, so I like that. But, of course, our Buckeyes are going to be right there in the mix. The schedule getting ready to ramp up for them. But just from a pure talent standpoint, and some of the adjustments offensively to incorporate the RPO, these guys are looking fantastic.
Joshua, it's so difficult, and I want you to put yourself back into that locker room. You guys know what the schedule is. Luckily, when you guys played, you always had one big non-conference game that first month to kind of get the blood flowing a little bit. They had 3 that didn't, and then a bye. How much are they itching to play somebody?
I think a lot, especially when you're a team where, you got to go out and you measure yourself differently in games, right? Like those first 3 games, the scoreboard could be right, but when you watch the tape, it might not be what you need it to be. And so I think you appreciate the challenges when the schedule ramps up, because it's a great litmus test. And we know, especially in a 12-team playoff era, like, you're going to have to be able to beat not only good teams, but different styles of teams that can do things differently, teams that might have a pure pocket passer versus teams that got a quarterback who can run, defenses that are a little bit more chaotic versus defenses that just play really structurally sound football. And so I think for these guys, like, it's tough, because you go out there, you can dominate. Coaches are telling you, listen, our standards are here, and it's kind of hard to really figure that out when it's just a team that you're better than. As the schedule ramps up, that's when you truly find out who you are. And I think these guys want to know, like, are we really the team that we set out to be?
Joshua, what's the biggest difference you've noticed from Ryan Day calling plays to Chip Kelly calling plays, if anything?
Well, I think both of the guys, first off, do a hell of a job of just creating a game plan that has that ties together. I see a lot of play callers on Saturday, and it looks like they're picking random items off of a menu, and when the meal gets to a table, it's kind of all over the place. And even when Ryan Day was calling plays with Chip Kelly, is fantastic. Like, you can see it kind of thread through. The biggest thing that stands out to me is what the RPO game does to open up this offense. Ohio State hasn't been a team that's like, straight drop back and throw it down the football field up to this point, and partially because they haven't had to. But part of the reason why is you have a mobile quarterback. So now you have the 2 running backs that are ridiculous, and the defense has to have answers for them. Then if it's not handed off, you got a quarterback who can hurt you in space, and then he can also throw it out to the flats to the wide receivers who can take the ball 75 yards to the crib. And to me, as a former defender, those are the offenses that you hate the most, because it's like the Bill Belichick thing where he would go into a game plan and say, I'm going to take away the thing that's going to hurt me the most. What is it with Ohio State's offense? Like, what do you think the thing is? And that's the tough question that coordinators are having to answer right now.
I think most people at the start of the season would have thought, well, maybe they're not elite at quarterback, but Will Howard is starting to look pretty elite to me. What do you see out of him?
I think he looks fantastic. And the fact of the matter is, I don't know if he's got to really be elite. Like when you have Jeremiah Smith, who can take the ball from any point in the field and score. When you have Emeka Egbuka, who's now showing us that he's not just the guy who can get down the field and work in the intermediate game, which he's done a really good job of throughout his career. He's a guy who's going to catch it and run too. And again, that run game to support the quarterback. But I think he's run that offense exactly the way that he's supposed to. He's been efficient. He's taken care of the football for the most part. He'll go through the progression. If it's not there, he'll use his legs to either extend it and throw it or to get the yards that are there. And I think in this current iteration of the offense, that's exactly what you need. I don't think you need the guy who you're like, oh, I need him to do everything on his arm. I think you need the guy to understand when the time to do that is, but also the time to just rely on his teammates.
Who's the second best team in the Big Ten?
Oh, man, I get this question all the time, and I struggle with it. I want to say it's Oregon. They had some snoozers to start, and they just looked really bad. The offensive line looked like it was an issue. I think the defense is still coming around as well. It's hard for me to discount the fact that they've got one of the best quarterbacks in the country, and also the fact that they're an extremely talented team with a good head coach. I'm waiting to see on Penn State. I feel like we've been caught up in this Penn State fool's gold thing before, where it's looked good, and then they play like an actual team that's a contender, and they don't look the same. I think their offense is different. I like what they're doing defensively. I'm a little bit more in wait-and-see mode when it comes to Penn State. So it feels as of right now, and Ohio State hasn't had the test yet, but it feels like it's Ohio State and then a gap in the next tier, but it would be either Penn State or Oregon for me.
Talking to the great Joshua Perry, Big Ten College Countdown on NBC and, of course, on Peacock. Joshua, what do you make of Sharon Moore saying, you know what, in college football in 2024, we don't need to throw the ball. We're just going to run it. I mean, if USC can tackle, they win. What did you make of that choice?
It's an interesting thing, right? And like the biggest thing I'll say to that is I think they came to a decision that trying to force the football to be thrown and turning it over 6 times in their first, 4 games of the season was not a recipe for them to be able to win football games. And so they said, we're going to go with the quarterback who's mobile, gives us the best chance to win. I still think it's a real problem. And it's almost like getting that win was rewarding bad behavior for not recruiting and developing a quarterback who can go out there and make plays. Now, I was a Davis Warren defender at the beginning of the season. I'm going to still defend him a little bit. That wide receiver room is not good. They don't have a guy at wide receiver. Their offensive line is not the same as what we've seen over the last 3 years. They got a real issue at center. They got an issue at right tackle. And so I think it's really difficult for a quarterback to be successful trying to throw the ball the way that offense is constructed. At some point, I think they've got to do it, but until they have to, we know what the game plan for Michigan is. It's run the football.
Joshua, I really enjoy your podcast with Nicole. Tell the folks when it drops and where they can get it.
So it's called Rushing the Field. You can check it out on NBCSports.com, on the NBC Sports YouTube page, and, of course, where you get your podcast, Apple and Spotify. It's myself and Nicole Auerbach, and we're covering college football nationally. We try to have some fun with it. Like, college football is different than the NFL, where you have all these ancillary storylines that kind of filter in. So it's been a lot of fun just to have that platform there, but it drops every Thursday. You can check us out, again, NBCSports.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Absolutely excellent. The best to the Young family, my friend. I know you guys are crushing it. Thanks for your time today.
All right. Appreciate you. Take care.
All right, that's great, Joshua Perry. Big Ten College Countdown on NBC and Peacock on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. We hit 3 things on a Thursday. Up next, Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
The sound of Paul Keels calling a Buckeye game is erotic.
Oh, yes.
Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Scott from the Cleveland area has coached girls basketball and supported his granddaughter's athletic pursuits.
My granddaughters have worked hard to excel in sports. It's tough enough. So the idea that Sherrod Brown voted to allow transgender biological men to compete in girls' sports, it's unfair and dangerous. And introducing a bill to allow biological men in girls' locker rooms? Biological men to shower in my granddaughter's locker room? No way. I worry about the safety of my family constantly. Now I have to worry about Sherrod Brown's crazy liberal ideas. I thought Sherrod Brown was on my side, but he's way too liberal for me.
Sherrod Brown has let Ohio down. Now he's way too liberal for Ohio. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.senateleadershipfund.org.
Common Man here for Jermaine Lexus of Dublin and Easton. Fall is here. It's still warm and dry and everything's brown. But yay, fall. Maybe after your summer road trips, you've realized your vehicle sucks. My friends at Jermaine Lexus want to help. Right now, they have special APRs as low as 2.99% on their most popular models like the ES and RX, or lease payments starting as low as $4.99 a month. My friends at Jermaine are the best in the business. If you're in the market, please stop in. 2 locations to serve you, Dublin and Easton, JermaineLexus.com.
Consider yourself a bourbon connoisseur? At Twin Peaks, we are proud to offer an exclusive and extensive collection of some incredibly rare bourbons, whiskeys, and tequilas. Plus, check out our barrel selects that are handpicked by our team and bottled just for you. Cheers!
Hi, this is Bob Capace from Worthington Jewelers. As a local family-owned business, we understand the importance of celebrating the ones we love. Stop in to find the perfect gift or check us out online at worthingtonjewelers.com.
Hi, here are some ways to listen to The Fan. You can download the Fan app or listen at home on your smart speaker or open up the iHeartRadio app or hold your head out the window and hear Common Man scream. Happy listening from the Dopes at The Fan.
With fall savings at the Home Depot, you can get up to $1,600 off select appliances from top brands like Samsung, ranked #1 in customer satisfaction. Wash and dry in one cycle with the Samsung Ultra Capacity All-in-One Washer-Dryer Combo from the Home Depot. And get laundry day done faster, running a super speed load in just 98 minutes. Right now, shop fall savings for up to $1,600 off select appliances at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Pricing about September 26th through October 16th. U.S. only. See store online for details. Visit jdpower.com/awards for more details.
Good morning, Doctor.
Doctor?
Hi, Doctor. Doctor?
Dr. Jackson's practice is growing.
What do you mean we're still short-staffed?
He needs a good patient doctor.
How do we not have enough doctors to doctor all these patients?
And he doesn't have the patience to sift through hundreds of resumes.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey football fans, with BetMGM's Second Chance promotion, you'll get your stake back if your first touchdown scorer scores second.
BetMGM and GameSense are ready to gamble responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. This U.S. promotional offer not available in Mississippi, Nevada, Ontario, or Puerto Rico. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. For New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. For Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. For Massachusetts, 1-800-327-5050. For Iowa, 1-800-BETS-OFF. For Puerto Rico, 1-800-981-0023. Subject to eligibility requirements. Partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
This college football moment is brought to you by ServPro.
On October 21st, 2006, Michigan State found themselves down 38-3 with less than 10 minutes to go in the third quarter, and they made that initial deficit like it never even happened, scoring 38 straight points to win 41-38.
Incomplete. The ball game is over. The Michigan State Spartans in one of the greatest comebacks in Michigan State football history.
ServPro, like it never even happened.
All your favorite Fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Producers, co-hosts, friends, some of those things are true. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, Reese, what do we have on the poll?
The Daily Fan Poll asks, when you played high school sports, were you allowed to talk on the bus ride home after a loss? 54% of you say you were not. It was silent on the bus after a loss. 45% say you were allowed to talk following a loss in the high school sports realm.
All right, here's the deal on this. My average bus ride for a football game, I'm just trying to do it in my head right now. There was none that were less than, the shortest was 40 minutes. So, there were some that were 2.5 hours. So, the notion that the bus was going to be quiet for 2.5 hours after a loss, on the short ones, nobody talked, but it was mostly because you're in a bad mood. Allowed to talk or not talk, I think, is interesting. Did you guys have that? You're not allowed to talk after a loss?
It was definitely a thing in middle school, but I think it was middle school coaches trying to do it. When I was doing the games for our Centerville radio station, when I was a junior and senior, we actually rode the bus with the cheerleaders.
Wow, what a win for you.
It didn't work out into anything for me.
You couldn't tell you.
It
You're a
wasn't.
media star.
I couldn't sell that. Hey, I'm on the radio to all the cheerleaders. No.
I was on the football team, so I participated greatly in warm-ups. And after the game, there was no explicit rule. I remember some of there was one senior class, I forget which year, that took themselves way too seriously.
Yeah.
And so they tried to make that a rule, but everybody thought they were corny.
Yeah.
Might have been my junior year.
I've never heard it being like a rule. All right, time for 3 things on a Thursday.
1, 2, 3 things.
Sponsored by Custom Air. Custom Air. Custom Solutions. Custom Comfort.
Number 1 for me, I saw Derrick Rose officially retired today. I was unaware that he was still playing in the NBA. It's one of those great what-if careers. Like, if the injury doesn't happen, what would his career have looked like? He was already sensational before all the knee injuries happened. We won the MVP. But it also got me thinking about the fact that in 2017, the Cleveland Cavaliers had a starting 5 at one point of Isaiah Thomas, Derrick Rose, Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, and Kevin Love. And that Derrick Rose, Dwayne Wade, and LeBron James went to watch Meechie Johnson play high school basketball as a freshman. All of that happened.
As I was, I was going to piggyback off you, or at least just mention this about Derrick Rose and him retiring, because I saw this thing. You know, every once in a while, the recruiting services just get it right, and you look back at a class, and you're like, oh, wow. Yeah, they had an easy time being like, these are the 5 stars. Derrick Rose is 3rd in this. It's a screenshot of Rivals 2007 class. Derrick Rose is 3rd. Michael Beasley, number 1. Eric Gordon, number 2. O.J. Mayo, number 4. Kyle Singler, number 5. Kevin Love, number 6. I don't remember Bill Walker. He's 7, but then
Bill Walker was at Kansas State.
Okay, but then DeAndre Jordan is 8th. It's like, yep, Rivals, you got that. You're right.
They crushed it, yeah.
Speaking of, I didn't know he was still active. Happy trails to Josh Gordon, who announced his retirement from the NFL yesterday. I couldn't tell you the last team. I think it was the Chiefs was the last team he played an active NFL game for, but I couldn't tell you where he's been since, 2019?
He is the best example of, if the NFL had different marijuana rules at the time he played, his career would have been very, very different.
It's a shame what happened.
Yeah, it is. Number 2 for me, I saw this from Tom Verducci was on with Dan Patrick. I saw the clip going viral about, he's talking about Shohei Ohtani. And he said, it's time we have the conversation that he might be the greatest living ball player. And he said, now that Willie Mays has died, we can have that conversation. And, it's Bonds and it's Griffey Jr. and it's all of these people. And it just got me thinking, why do we have to qualify it? There's no blueprint for what he's done. He's the greatest baseball player ever. He's the most talented person to ever play the sport. What he's accomplished. Why is Babe Ruth unimpeachable? Why? What Ohtani's doing now is more impressive than what Ruth did then.
Yeah, facts. Second one for me, this is an interesting time of year with the weather we're getting, because this overcast in the morning, but the sun's still coming up early enough. So this happened. And then because of the weather, my leaves have already dropped. So a very unique set of circumstances that also allowed me to be fine with being outside with the dog when I let her out this morning. And then J-Lo points out, hey, look up in the trees. There's these 2 squirrels and one's a baby squirrel. She gets really into baby animals right now because she is pregnant. And I'm like, oh, yeah. And she's like, oh, they're trying to get to the other branch. We're watching them. And one does, the bigger one gets to it. And then the little one, he keeps going up and down the branches trying to find the best. He doesn't want to jump to the next tree. And we're just watching him back and forth. And I was just thinking about what a unique set of circumstances for the weather today, that I was able to be outside, is be able to see the squirrels and be comfortable outside. And it was just cool. So sometimes things work out in Ohio, I guess, to do something for you while we've had terrible, basically it's been Mars for a month.
Yeah, it has.
I love when we're able to wedge some baseball talk into the end of the show.
You're welcome.
Baseball, baseball rules and old timey stuff is the weirdest damn thing. So the Guardians beat the Reds last night. I think this was the 5th inning, where Cincinnati's, I think it was TJ Friedel bunted a single, and it was against Cleveland threw a bullpen game out there. They had a perfect game going into that, and TJ broke it up with a bunt. And old-timey baseball folks were big mad about how dare the Cincinnati Reds do something like that. And ignoring the fact that Friedel scored and they made it a 2-2 ball game, which you're trying to win. So any way you can get runners across the plate works. But it's a bullpen game. It's, I think, different if Shane Bieber's out there throwing a perfect game. But even in that instance, you're still trying to do whatever you can to score runners. Like, miss me with, the sportsmanship. Stop.
I agree. Finally, number 3, my wife, the boys were kind of all feeling a little bit off. They all ended up going to school. She goes, I'm so proud of them for going to school. I said, why? She goes, what do you mean? I said, I had like 5 years at elementary school where I never missed a day. Like, what are you these kids are sick all the time. I never missed a day. Let's go.
Last one for me real quick. I mentioned we got that new bed frame delivered, but then because of a mix-up with the salesman, we didn't realize it needed a box spring, so we had to wait for that to get delivered. It got delivered. I feel like I'm in a hotel in my own bedroom. This is much better than our original bed frame. It's awesome.
I'm so mad about the Reds and their bunting to break up a perfect game. I'm going to stick around to yell at Matty Ice because they're off for an hour. We've got Ryan Day show next till 1, and then Matty and Rothman, they'll go from 1 to 3.
And there you have it. We're back tomorrow on a Football Friday. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
When that alarm clock goes off, Morning Juice comes on. The perfect way to dominate your day or just lay around the house. Morning Juice.
Weekdays at 6.
The Fan. This is a Fan Action Update.
4 ranked versus ranked team matchups in college football this weekend. Of course, the big one has number 2 Georgia, 2.5-point road favorite over number 4 Alabama. In the Big Ten, 19th ranked Illinois is giving number 9 Penn State 17.5. Notre Dame's a 6.5-point favorite over Louisville, and Kansas State is a 4-point favorite over Oklahoma State. For your action update, I'm Scotty Vegas.
After 31 years in Washington, just how much has Sherrod Brown changed? When he first wanted our vote, he said this.
My allegiance will be to Ohio and to the communities in Ohio.
To Ohio? Sherrod Brown voted for amnesty for 11 million illegal immigrants. And he voted to give them taxpayer-funded benefits, like free health care to illegals who get amnesty, Social Security checks, COVID relief checks, all to be paid for by you. And Sherrod Brown's open border policies have led to more fentanyl, dangerous gangs, even terrorists pouring into our country. So when Sherrod Brown says this,
my allegiance will be to Ohio and to the communities in Ohio.
Don't listen to what Sherrod Brown says. Watch what he does. Because Sherrod Brown doesn't vote for Ohio anymore. He's way too liberal for Ohio. American Crossroads paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. AmericanCrossroads.org.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
Something amazing is happening in business. More companies are turning to Mac. From finance to fulfillment, CDW will seamlessly support Mac integration into your organization. With the power of Apple Silicon, best-in-class security, and compatibility across your favorite apps, your team will have the performance they need and the tools they love. Make amazing happen. Mac and CDW. Learn more at cdw.com/apple.
Hey, fans! Welcome back to Fansville's Cheers and Tears. Oh. Okay, so like everybody deals with losing, right? To a rival on a last-second field goal. Whatever, it's fine. I'm totally fine. But I cope with losing with an ice-cold Dr. Pepper. Those 23 flavors are like so delicious. They totally wash away the pain of your college football team taking a big fat L. College football